is. It's.
But the way we should do it.
Can you get camera one?
We should add the song. Okay, why are we?
I don't think we should do it like this.
Well,
Talking about war and taxes today.
War and
Which
taxes?
Mm-hmm. All the taxes.
Wow.
You guys pay your bills?
Do you get to
I
claim the war participants as dependent on your taxes?
What?
what?
Can you put Israel and Ukraine on
Yeah, like
as a dependent on your taxes?
because we're paying for
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, we forgot to turn the fan on.
I'm not ready for another
No,
war.
good.
I'm still
I'm
signing
sweating.
my checks to Iraq.
it. So that was so coming through on the mics that I'm nervous to turn it on. Like, should I turn on
fan?
the fan? Like, you could hear the fan as if it was one of our voices.
That was before we fixed the mics, right?
Well, by fixed, we just sat down.
I think they're fixed.
Yeah, we're good.
Want
I
me to
think we're
do it?
good. We've always had a fan. It's tradition. It's tradition that I don't flop sweat on the show. Hallelujah.
All right.
What is flop sweat?
It's when you sweat, but like so much that it flops
Sweat
all
flops?
over your face. Yeah.
Seems like a wrong verb.
You've never heard the term flop sweat?
No. I think you just made that up.
That's
You have to-
ridiculous.
You have to be in the depths of crypto. I mean, Twitter.
Is
to,
that like that's a
get
crypto
exposed
thing?
to these
That's a
things.
crypto thing.
I was gonna say, I meant to say
Flop
Twitter.
sweat is a crypto Twitter
I meant
thing.
to say Twitter.
It's like one of the oldest sayings in existence. Like my mom probably says that.
She's
Flop
OG.
sweat.
She's
This is
OG
not
crypto.
a 4chan phrase.
No, this is just like basic English. Some-
Basic English.
Are we live?
God,
Yeah.
somebody help
I
me
want to
out.
know if anybody's
Somebody
ever heard
help
the
me
term
out here.
flop
Only
sweat in the chat.
25% of us know.
Anybody in the chat, have you ever heard
making
this
us
term?
Feel so small.
Somebody in the chat tell these people that flop sweat is not like an esoteric term.
It is.
It's very.
Never heard of it.
Oh,
75% of people I just polled haven't heard of it.
And the term basic, to call it basic.
Yeah,
I
like
just-
everybody knows this.
This is
Everybody does know that. It's just a
Fundamental.
normal term.
Oh, we got high pitch.
High pitch is already.
High pitch boy, 2 minutes in.
Great episode.
It's already happening.
It's gonna be a great show.
episode.
All right. All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Alfalfa podcast. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for joining us live. We are live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST. I see Tyler in the chat, Adam, Feech, Ben, Tom Nom Nom, Feech. I mentioned you already. All right, cool. We're all in here.
Thank God Adam has my back. Adam knows things, okay? Adam always
Okay,
knows
yeah.
things.
Adam backs you. All right. So I feel like Inspector Gadget right now because I have an iPad, I have 2 laptops, I have headphones. I don't know. I'm gonna have a hardware wallet coming to my ass too.
Plays a song, DJ.
Yeah, but it's gonna work. It's gonna work. All right, so today we're Eric Johansson, Armand Asadi, Steven Cesaro. I'm Nick Urbani. All the links are at alfalfapod.com. If you're tuning in live, give the YouTube video a like if you
Yep.
would.
I just liked it.
Oh,
I'm one of the likes.
ooh, that's like a flag.
Really?
You're on the channel and you like your own
Yeah.
videos.
No, I'm in my own channel.
Mm-hmm.
My own private channel.
It's a swamp
I'm
term.
an on.
Thank you, Tyler, for calling flop sweat a swamp term. That's true. Thank you. That's right.
God.
Well, there's
Oh
swamp
my
terms,
God.
yeah.
It keeps calling it basic. This is like standard nomenclature. There's like a town within a town in Rhode Island where they use this word, around the swamp.
I can't wait till the entire audience
the old
listening to
flop
this.
sweat.
It's just like, wow, there's only one intelligent person on this podcast.
Oh my God.
Okay.
How's the day, boys? Eric and I did a little webinar today.
Yeah.
We might have some new
Oh.
Oh,
people
is that
joining.
Was that
I wanna
today?
hear about that.
Yeah, it was at noon, so we invited some of them to come visit our live stream. So we might have some financial advisors joining the stream
Nice.
today.
Yeah, everybody button up. We have financial advisors.
That's,
joining.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Button
not
up.
good.
It was good though. We
Yeah.
we talked for what, maybe 45, 50 minutes. Kind of
Did you warn them what they're going to step into
the
if they
the guy who
come to the show?
Carl who's the one who hooked us up with this. He knew because he's
Oh,
been
okay.
listening to the podcast for a
All
year
right.
or two, so he knew. But he was like, all right, this will kind of work.
Yeah. What do you
And-
think our success rate is with like a new listener? Possibility of them getting turned off.
I think pretty high.
I think it's pretty high. Possibility of getting offended.
Can I just say, by the way, that Carl found us on the Bankless episode,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Oh, these guys," and then he goes, "Oh shit, that's my roommate from college. That's Nick."
Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Carl and I shared bunk beds together in a room smaller than the studio.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a wild
Dorm
story.
rooms.
That's a great story.
Look at us now.
Yeah.
What did you guys talk about? What was the pitch?
It was a crypto market update, so we kind of just like gave the lay of the land of what's going on. introduced, the idea the ETF is there. They were somewhat aware of the ETF, it seemed like.
Did you mention the dog with the hat?
No, we didn't even get.
What kind of an update was this?
Well, hold on. Like, it was kind of hard because what they were saying was that there was going to be like 80 people or so expected to join the Zoom, but we couldn't see the audience because we could only see the host and the participants. So I could only tell there was like 4 people there. I didn't know who we were talking to necessarily.
Yeah, and it was mostly, probably people who were curious about crypto, maybe dabbled in 2021, left, and then are still just generally like, what's the halving that people are talking about? Can you explain it? What's the difference between having Coinbase, your Bitcoin in Coinbase versus having Bitcoin in your hardware wallet?
Wow.
And it was really good, and we covered a bunch of stuff. They asked some really good questions, and I think it's maybe a sign, like just like a little sample size of how many financial advisors are, ready to sell this thing. And I don't think that's the case. I think they're mostly just aware that it exists and aware that maybe they should they should introduce their clients. They don't know exactly what to tell them to expect. One of the questions, like, what should I tell my clients to expect? Like, what kind of returns, what kind of volatility? And it's like, it's hard to obviously answer that. But
Was that your favorite question from the audience?
the favorite question was, how do you handle crypto when you die? Like, they have clients, they're worried about how are they going to handle their crypto when you die. And I told them that my answer was Eric. Eric is the crypto executor on my trust. And so that
all to me.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel
I'm really
slighted.
Both me and you though are really glad you didn't join this, because the omnipotent male's urge to like go into detail about Ethereum, Solana, yield, you wouldn't be able to slow down that urge. You just would have went way too deep. It would have been like a tidal wave of like info.
I don't know. I feel like I've been getting good at working that muscle.
I mean, you did teach us, so you were good at it originally, but I think you're in too deep now.
Yeah, you're too deep.
My favorite question
You're
was
advanced mode.
somebody asked towards the end. Somebody asked like, "Are we too late to buy this stuff?"
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick was like, "We always feel too late. Every time we feel too late."
You feel that around any asset class. You
Yeah.
feel that about Apple stock and Nvidia. And I kind of gave a little bit of your advice, which was like, take 20, 30%, buy it now. Take half of it, buy it over time. Take the other half that's left over and buy it when it goes down 15, 20%, and just spread it out. But get in the game, because once you have it in your account, you start learning, you start paying attention, you read the articles rather than pass over the headlines.
The number of people that thought they were too late when Bitcoin hit 18,000. It's the
Right.
same shit. It's just you feel it within the cycle, but if you zoom out enough,
And also, like, we were telling them that, like, time's on your side, and
Yep.
maybe not on our side because we talk about this every week and think about it every day. But, I told the story of my fiance that in 2000, when did Bitcoin peak at 19, 20K? So 2017, 2018?
17.
End of 17.
Yeah.
And she bought it, like, on the day it peaked. And then, like, everyone else forgot about it. And I told her this, like, last month, I'm like, check your Coinbase account. She's like, whoa, it's up. And she just skipped all the noise, and time was on her side, and she's
She's
realized.
just like, oh, I'm up like 400%.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I get.
Didn't realize she went like
I get 75%.
down like 90, then up 300, then down 85.
She's like, I get 75% annual returns. I'm amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Anyway, so that was a lot of fun, and we might have some people join us. I hope they shout out in the chat. All right, so Steven, I want you to tell us what we're drinking, and I specifically have an empty cup because I want to know how to make this.
Oh, well played, sir.
This cocktail.
We have
Wow.
a 2-drink minimum, sir. Pre-recorded.
I slammed one of
Drinking
these.
Happy
seltzers.
Dad? Wow.
Maybe that's why I'm a little uptight.
Yeah,
That's
you're
I got
like
too many.
3%.
I got too many electrical devices around me.
You're not in the flow state yet.
No, there's no
Once-
such thing when you got three
No, there
screens
is.
pointing
You
at
have
you. There's
enough-
another one over there.
2 drinks,
All right.
and it all makes sense.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
Well,
All right.
Give this
Well,
man a shot.
Stephen, can you educate the?
we are drinking Tinto de Verano, which I believe means summer wine,
Okay.
summer red wine specifically. I think they call red wine Tinto.
You should probably let everyone know where you just came from.
Well, believe it or not, I just came from Spain.
I believe you.
You're glowing. You got a little base tan.
Yeah.
I know. I came back today and I was just like, I can't deal with this like American life anymore. So fucking stressful.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm quitting for like
Did
3
you
months.
take 3-hour siestas and do dinner at 10 p.m.?
I mean, the whole thing was just like it was like a traveling thing, you know. You can't siesta on vacation, but I did sleep a lot, so I guess yes,
Okay.
I did.
Did you live the European lifestyle?
I did a lot of European living. Yeah.
Okay.
You smoke
I feel
ciggies
like
or no?
I did not have an opportunity to smoke any ciggies.
They don't do it as much anymore.
I didn't
They-
really
they don't
see
allow it indoors
too many
anymore.
people smoking, to be honest.
Yeah. In Spain,
Yeah.
were they doing it indoors anymore? I thought they changed
I
that.
didn't see anybody smoking indoors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They changed that.
So
It used to
kinda
be you
sad.
couldn't go anywhere without getting smoked out.
Right.
Like restaurant, you would just be like, "Oh my god!" Like while you're eating dinner, so overwhelming.
Well,
Every single person smoking.
when I was in
They do
Sevilla,
the rollies. They roll their own.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
even though I didn't drink, or excuse me, even though I didn't smoke, I did discover this lovely drink, which is very simple to make. I'm just gonna
Are you gonna make one on air?
Nick requested that I make him, so this is a half red wine, ideally like a Tempranillo, and then gonna throw some 7-Up in there.
What kind of jerry-rigged cocktail is this?
So this is the sugar-free 7-Up.
It's sugar free, don't worry.
I believe they call this scissor.
And boom,
Wait,
Okay.
Tinto.
Wait, what was the
Hey.
club soda part of it?
You
That's
changed
if
the
you want to
recipe.
cut it a little bit. You know, I poured too much, and then I realized I didn't have room for the club soda. It's just gonna taste more lemony than mine, which you might like. You might like it a little less.
Wow, that's delightful.
Surprisingly good, right?
Wow.
And then when it's like hot outside, it's even better.
Well, it's hot in the studio, so this is perfect.
Yeah, no, this is good. So, one of the interesting things I learned in Sevilla is that apparently they don't like go out to the bar and drink sangria.
It's a
They're like-
pregame drink.
They're like, that's not a thing. Like
Do it at home.
sangria is you make it at home.
Yeah.
You have your own recipe. You go out, you know what
It's
the hell it
ritual.
is. And we go out, we drink this, and it was like a bottle. It was Tinto de Verano.
Mm.
It's just like it's a little, and I drank it, and it was delightful. And I was like, oh, this is so good. So we're doing
I
like
like
the
this. I mean, when you guys have been traveling, you're coming back with like the local,
Yeah.
you know, du jour.
I'm trying to go
that's-
I'm trying to go to the extra mile. Show you I care.
God, I've changed
The,
so much.
Yeah,
Um,
we're so cultured. Thank you.
The Chinese wine I was drinking, it's called Baiju.
Oh, that one I'm gonna.
It's
skip.
still on its way.
No.
So when it arrives, we'll do it. And
Oh god.
at the moment I would have gotten back, I forget the name of
Chinese wine.
Yeah, there's a brand
Baiju.
name. Yeah. That's a category of the drink, but there's a brand name. And if you would have bought that meme coin, you'd probably would have been up 15x.
Oh,
Ah.
boy.
Shucks.
Of course.
Um,
Are we buying cats with hats?
no, we're not touching those right now.
Okay, because
We're
the cat to dog ratio is
Can we not, sir? Read the room. Everything's down like 75%.
the cat to dog ratio is looking good.
All
And
right.
the Chinese are
Lower it is.
they're coming. Hong Kong is online.
We got ETFs now.
Yeah.
And they mean
Bitcoin
literally
and-
Oh,
nothing.
yeah, Hong Kong launched Bitcoin and ETH ETF. Or they weren't big players,
With
but
the-
I don't
is-
think they're even allowed to buy in China. Like
no, they
mainland
say they
China.
can't buy them, and it's like 50 bill in liquidity versus trillions. So
Yeah.
it's like
drop in the bucket.
it's more of a headline.
Take everything we can get.
Not,
baby.
not to be a Debbie Downer on you.
You're coming out a little bearish. I don't know if I like
Well,
what
we'll
this is
we'll get
saying.
into that in a second.
I left bearish.
Let's Yeah, you were right. You called it. All right. Let's get into the our sponsors here. So zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Zbiotics, thanks for sponsoring this episode as
you.
always. So it's the drink you take before you drink. So I took one before I had this. What is this thing called again?
Tinto de
Verano.
Verano.
Okay, I like it. Summer wine.
Summer wine.
red
Okay.
wine.
Summer red
I took
wine.
it before my summer wine, and you know, alcohol creates toxins in the gut called acetaldehyde, and you know, they show up in your liver, and your liver can detoxify those, but your gut can't. So, Zbiotics is you know, a genetically engineered enzyme to break down that toxin inside of your gut, and when that toxin wreaks havoc in your gut, you fall asleep, you wake up in the next morning, you feel like shit. That's the reason. So Zbiotics takes care of that for you. And use the code ALFALFA to get 15% off your first order. And yeah, go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Thanks, guys, for sponsoring the episode.
Another vacation with no hangovers over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Probably just because of the European thing, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's good. They got all the natural stuff there or something. I don't know.
Maybe the walks.
You know.
Did you walk a lot?
I walked.
How are your steps?
A lot of steps. Many steps.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
felt
I'm
good.
trying to get the steps up myself these days. I'm trying to
Yeah.
hit at least over 10 to 15K.
I think
a
when
day.
you're traveling, you're not traveling if you're not doing 20,000.
Agreed.
You got to do 20.
20,000, man. It's just dropping.
Are you really seeing the city if you
18
don't walk
min.
20,000?
18 min. You're not doing it right.
20,000
less than 18.
steps? What is that? 60.
nothing.
It's like 60,000
It's nothing.
feet.
It's what
12
it's-
miles? Is
It's,
that
it's
12?
probably like half of what a European does.
If you're not doing 12 miles a day,
No, it's not that much. It's not
that's
that
what
much.
60,000 steps
I
is.
think so.
No,
A step is like 3 feet.
no.
Man, just
do
Don't
did
make
the
me do the
math.
math again. I just did the math. It's over.
no.
All right, well, let's give a shout out to Magic Spoon as well. Thanks for sponsoring the pod. We appreciate you so much. Magic Spoon is a cereal that lets you still live that healthy lifestyle, get those steps in, actually. And it's a 0 grams of sugar, high protein, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 or 5 grams of net carb cereal. Steven's going to take a nice rip of the Frosted right now.
This bag is all curled up. I can't
It's,
eat
it's
it.
empty.
No, it's in here, but I'm also making a lot of noise.
Yeah,
so.
you are.
Yeah, you are.
It
And you're
looked
not-
good.
you got to be label out if you're gonna do that.
Oh, yeah. Let me just,
There you go. So that's Frosted. They got cocoa, fruity, peanut butter. So a lot of good flavors, high in protein.
Blueberry
less
muffin, man.
sugar.
blueberry muffin is good.
There's a fifth flavor I don't know about.
I have blueberry muffin, and it is everything you didn't know you needed
Did you use the code Alfalfa?
in your mouth. Of course I did.
Okay, good. If you use the code Alfalfa, you get $5 off your purchase. And if you or the kids don't like it, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So give it a shot, support the pod. And thanks to Magic Spoon for supporting the podcast. Okay, let's get into it, boys. Steven, you said you felt bearish before you left. So did you predict war or did you predict bearishness?
No, I mean, like me and Eric were talking on the last Irresponsibly Long. We pulled up the charts, and I was like, it's kind of weird. Kind of looks like Bitcoin wants to go sideways, but for some reason, Solana wants to go to like $120. And
You
I was-
did call that, man. You pointed it out on the chart.
I know, but I was staring at it. I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. But and then lo and behold, Puke City.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I sold all my kind of crappy alts before I left, and stacked a little cash so I could relax a little bit. Which
Did you take all your trades off? Because you can't travel.
I mean, I had no leverage on, and I sold I sold like my entire render bag and like half my Solana bag and like basically every meme coin I had, just because I didn't want to think about it, and I just wanted to have the cash there, just the stockpile.
Are you guys buying this dip already, or do you think it's too soon to be dabbling?
I bought some.
I bought some ETH last time it hit around just under 3,100, so I didn't buy more of that stuff. But I did buy some Solana when it dipped
Yeah.
on Saturday. I don't know, right when the rockets and the drones were in the air.
Oh, I was sitting having a nice time, just eating some fruit on a terrace in Portugal, and I got an alert on my phone, and it was like Solana bids filled, 115. I'm like, what? I was like, what?
And you texted the thread like, guys, what is going on? And you didn't read.
I checked last time I checked the price, it was like 170. Like I feel like the day before, and I was like 115, and I log in and I saw that. Iran launched missiles, and everything was down like 15-20%. I was like, holy balls. It was like it didn't even hit. I think on Coinbase spot, like it only traded 122, so I got filled like lower than it even went because everybody got liquidated so badly on perps.
Yeah.
But I just like it bounced to like 130, and I just like sold it because I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Dude, I bought some, and I feel like I want to get out. Like I don't want to own this shit right now.
Yeah, Eric, why don't you throw that up on the screen here? So we
Okay.
got Chris Berninsky with the tweet. He said, significant fear in the market while prices find footing in reasonable ranges and excesses get flushed is a setup for eventually going higher. And I kind of feel that a little bit. Like, we've had, 6 months of up only, and the excesses are getting flushed. Also, I'm thinking about tax day. It just passed us a few days ago, and there was a note by Warren Pies. Let me see if I can pull it up at the same time. So yeah, let's pull this up on the screen. And he mentions that from April 10th to May 10th, individual tax payments to the Treasury may exceed $300 billion. This would surpass the $278 billion drained during the 22 tax season from April 10th, 2022 to May 10th. The S&P fell by more than 10%. And he's basically saying it could just be a little liquidity drain and not some complex macro thesis. So you could take it off. And
so this has happened before, and here we go again.
Yeah. So we talked about on the webinar earlier that 2023 the S&P 500 went up 25%, and 2021 it went up 27%. So you look at the tax payments, just after those years, and they tend to be pretty big. And sounds like we're going to have at least 300 billion, maybe more, being drained starting in the last week and maybe continuing for the next couple weeks. So this could just be simply that. And I think it could last for more than a couple weeks. It could last for a few months. And maybe it's just that, and we don't need to make it any more complicated, that there's hundreds of billions of dollars being drained from the system. And it'll go into government coffers, and in a few months they'll spit it back out into liquidity, and everything will be all good. I asked Eric about that on the webinar. What do you think about that, Steven?
I mean, this is something I had on my radar because it literally always fucking happens. It's like you have a great start to the year.
After people have a year's worth of winnings to pay taxes on, right?
Yeah. We nuked in 2021, and 2020 was pretty bad for a lot of people's portfolios. So I don't know, like just having the tax thing there, people go like, oh fuck, I have to pay taxes, and then they sell shit.
There's so many ways you can like ascribe a narrative to this. Like one is just like 20 to 30% pullback in Bitcoin happens quite often in a bull market. Could be like a sell in May and go away type thing.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I'm not too worried about this, but I do feel like Steven talks about this a lot. He says like sometimes you need to go through a phase of accumulation before you can pump again, right? Or you have a three-tiered, 3 phases, right? What are they?
Accumulate, manipulate, distribute.
Yeah. So
yeah. Well, I mean, like price needs time to go up again. You can't just go up in a straight line forever. It has to go sideways or down. Like people have to rebuy bags, whales have to like get in, and then they have to pump the price again. That's just like the way it is. You can't just like go up forever. I mean, we're trading at all-time highs, and I don't know. People are thinking that TradFi is just going to come in and like YOLO like all-time highs and be like, yeah, let's just buy 69K and send this shit to the moon. And I don't know. I don't think that's how this money thinks.
We've kind of like poo-pooed all the macro talk, but I've been watching the 10-year for the last month or so, and it looks like it's just screaming towards 5%. And I don't know, that might be like a psychological thing that may dampen people's animal spirits.
I still just don't think it matters. Like it's like people just are just, oh, inflation is high. It's stuff. It doesn't make any sense. Like if inflation is really high, it probably means there's a lot of growth, and GDP is like soaring, which means the stock market probably goes up. And I think people just anchor to numbers that used to be there, and they're like, oh, this number's higher and this is bad. And I don't know. Like I feel like I've talked about this a bunch.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's any problem like sustaining really high asset prices with 5%.
I think
rates.
the dot-com bubble in 1999 was like full euphoria, and that was like 7% interest rates. So I agree.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're not worried about stock multiples in equity land as the 10-year rate?
You know what I'm worried about? I was going to save this for your response to be long, but what I'm worried about is like we got earnings coming out in the next couple of weeks, and the first one came through yesterday. Was what's that company, ASML or whatever, the chip
equipment manufacturer.
They make that lithography. Yeah. So they missed and guided lower, saying that like our backlog is just not gonna be to what we guided. So I'm worried that like we were all kind of like bull-tarded on this like semiconductor thing that might be cooling off, but it might just be like a lumpy ordering.
And you're vulnerable even if you hold the index, I assume.
Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like NVIDIA was holding up the entire S&P.
Yeah. So how long does earnings season last? Like we got like 3 to 4 weeks?
It'll be like 3 weeks and like the big tech is coming probably next week.
I think Coinbase's is early May, like May 2nd, May 5th, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I don't know. exactly when.
They say that second is likely, but it hasn't been
The actual date.
announced. Yeah,
Okay.
but it's kind of scary because I bought calls on May 3rd, and I need those earnings to come through.
Oh damn!
Wait, they expire on May 3rd?
Yeah,
Ooh.
Bold move.
I was too early on that one.
Yeah.
Too soon, Junior.
Yeah,
I think I'm just gonna take a few months off.
yeah, that sounds
I
right.
just don't think anything's going anywhere for a while. You know.
Yeah.
The only thing that gives me pause is that literally everybody and their mother now is like, yeah, I'm gonna buy all this Bitcoin at 50K, and it's just like taken as a given that it's going to break down. But other than that, I'm just like, yeah, everything looks like all the trends are broken. It's a downtrend. It's not gonna V reverse. I don't think you're gonna wake up next week and you got to buy everything now. I don't know. I feel like I do this every year where I know it's over and then I just sit here watching everything for months and just trading chop, and it's just the highest probability scenario is that it just goes sideways down for a few months and then it goes up again in the
Should
fall.
we also
or
take a
late
trip?
Summer. I don't know.
Sounds like a good time to take a trip.
Take a trip.
Let's go to Japan. I saw the dollar yen 152, cheapest it's ever been in
Oh,
decades.
dude, the yen is getting slaughtered. We gotta go.
What's the biggest thing you
gotta
think
go.
changed, Stephen, from the thesis that was there before, where every indicator was pointing toward bullishness? I mean, there's a lot of things we've discussed over the last few weeks.
It's just a
What do
matter
you
of
think
it's
the
just a
biggest
matter of
pieces
time
of that?
frame. Nothing has changed on the high time frame. It's just you've lost a daily trend, So you can have a very bullish monthly chart which may span 6 months to 2 years of price action. And within that, you can just trade to Solana's a good example of this, right? Solana has gotten slaughtered, right? Went down almost 50% in the span of a couple of weeks. Solana hasn't taken out last month's low. It's just trading at the bottom of a monthly range. These monthly ranges can get very, very, very big. And simply just pulling back within that range with these super high volatile altcoins can produce this mega downturn, right? And to me, there's nothing happening. People are like, oh my God, there's a war or inflation's picking back up, all this stuff. I just think people are they're just sort of ascribing a narrative to the price action. The reality is we just Uber sent for 9 months straight, and we need to cool off. People were just trading memes 18 hours. Everybody in this office was just sitting around trading memes. It was obviously a sign that things were overheated. And when things get overheated, they need to cool off.
Do you think if this war escalates, it could be bullish? Because I feel like that would actually be.
I think no matter what happens, this war is bullish.
What?
Because, and again, this is going to be callous, but either the war happens and then ultimately the government prints a bunch of money and then Biden loses and then you get Trump and then Trump just moons everything, right? Mega bullish. Or they bend over backwards trying to make the war not happen or have an impact. Maybe they're probably going to just dump out the strategic petroleum reserve again, which people might remember happened. That was one of the main catalysts.
But they still haven't refilled that thing.
Yeah. Don't worry, they're getting right on that. These politicians are short-sighted. They're just thinking the next 3 to 6 months sometimes to just get back in office, and they'll do whatever it takes to have that happen, and that usually just involves printing money. So I think wars lead to money printing, and then wars also lead to incumbent presidents. These days, this is not a very pro-war kind of mindset we have in the States right now. People aren't into it, right? People already aren't super big on Biden. So, if he goes into the election season with a war happening, he's just toast.
Seems like Israel wants war. I feel like Bibi wants war.
I don't know if they want war, but you could argue sometimes war is necessary.
Well, I kind of feel like your logic plays for Israel. It's a way for the incumbent president or the incumbent leader to, garner that unified sort of vote.
Yeah, he's always wanted a reason to take out Iran's nuclear capabilities. I don't think he's going to go there right away, but okay. So you think if it escalates, we shouldn't be too worried in terms of at least the investment.
No, I think
Part of our
everything
lives.
that's happening now, like most people who are listening to this probably aren't traders. They're probably just buying coins and like holding on to them for a while, and they want to sell them at a long time in the future. Like all of this, I think is like a great opportunity. Like if you get to buy $2,400, $2,500 like Ethereum, like that's great because it's going to go a lot higher than that. And if you don't think it's going to go a lot higher than that, I don't know why you own it in the first place, but like I think that's going to happen. I think we may have to just adjust to this like kind of new paradigm in crypto too. Like we're not going to do 2021 all over again, where it's just like this mega bonanza, and coins go up 100x, and you make like 50 times your net worth in like 4 months. That like might not happen. Like you might have to be satisfied like eking out like a 30% gain year over year, which in normal parts of the world is like really, really, really good. But like here, it's going to be painful for us if we watch Ethereum go to 4, and they're like, yeah, but nope. Then it goes back down to 25, and then we have to chill for 4 months, and then it goes up to 7, and we're like, woo! But then it goes back down to 4. Like that might just happen, and it might suck, and that might be part of the super cycle. It might be like a super, super boring cycle, you know. But like, it's a lot better in some ways.
Did Stephen answer your questions, Armand?
Yeah.
That didn't sound very convincing.
Yeah, I think for me, I was pouring a drink. I like that there's like real like that's what I was trying to communicate. I don't know if we were on a call or where we were, Zoom, and I was like saying something about I was looking at the Bitcoin chart and the ETH chart just over the last 30 days, and I'm like, why are people freaking out? We did a dip like this in March. Like we literally have gone through this multiple times, and I think we like to do what Steven said, which is to attribute it to these external factors in order to like provide some kind of framework and logic for why these things happen the way they happen, because otherwise it's just like too technical and there's no foundation to like really make sense of it all. But overall, I kind of was happy, not happy, happy is the wrong word, but like I enjoyed seeing that there was just like some real fear now. And a lot of people are like throwing in the towel, because I actually personally feel like that never really happened in the bear market. I don't think it ever got to the point where people were like scared or over it or had given up fully, especially those people that are in crypto. And so the fact that like so many people that are in crypto have real fear and real insecurities about their bags and are questioning like what they hold, it says a lot to me. It's like maybe the cycles are changing, maybe the timelines are changing, maybe the emotions throughout the cycles are changing the way that people experience them. And so the time horizons are shifting as well. There was a really great chart. I think I added it to the Notion as well, where it's like, you know, the length of time, or maybe one of you guys did, the length of time for each cycle, the volatility and the increase in percentage rate of each cycle. Like it's going to continue to decrease and decrease over time. And so I don't expect it to be like it was 10 years ago at all. And I think most of what Steven said is correct, even though he's having the nuanced reaction to what I'm saying, because you're attaching to certain words, I'm sure. But
Oh no, I was just thinking of the bear, like how bad it was. It was nothing like there was we've never been as dead as we were, I think, this bear. Did you see, like, there was a group chat that was leaked where, like, all of the people who you follow on Twitter
I don't think that's
basically
true.
were like...
I think it was way more dead last bear.
No. Like, people were... People were like, it's, like, I think it's literally over forever.
Well, they actually lost their money in FTX, so I think they were like...
I honestly never experienced that. I think we were waiting to experience that. I think we were a lot of people were waiting for that to really happen. I don't know. Compared to the last bear, I didn't feel it as much.
The last bear didn't matter as much because like we had less skin in the game, because it was like, oh, like this is still kind of stupid. But like last cycle, we had like we've made it. Sailors buying, institutions are here. Like we're there, and then we got rugged, and we're like, oh my god. Like now it's like really fucking bad. Like because previous cycle it was like, you know, we had John McAfee.
And,
yeah,
you know,
like, and
he believes he's going to eat an organ at some point. Yeah. John McAfee.
Yeah, anyway, I'm still very, again, my time horizons are different, but I'm very bullish with everything that I see still. I actually spent the last few days buying and trying to time that in the best ways that I could, knowing that like there was the moment the missiles went off, probably a good time. But then I was waiting for Monday to see how the market opens. It didn't open as bad as I thought it would.
Yeah.
Then later in the day it got worse, so I bought, and then I bought again on Tuesday, which was yesterday, which had dumped even more. Like Toshi down to like 150 million market cap.
So you're buying like far end of the risk curve, not
Yeah.
even just the
Yeah.
majors.
Yeah, and Bitcoin. I've been buying. That's the barbell. Right
Oh,
now.
you love Bitcoin and
I
memes.
think it's literally like Bitcoin, whiff, and then whiff beta.
I think
You're probably
think
right at the end of this cycle. It's just like his Sortino ratio.
yeah, they got
I,
chef's
I
kiss.
have to say,
Remember that
in the
little
previous
YouTube-
cycle, I've accumulated a lot of ETH. Haven't bought any.
Remember that
don't know why.
YouTube video we saw where the guy's like, "Oh, whiff coins are killing." He's like, "That's a category, whiff coins."
with coins.
Well, that's what I was joking about the cat coins. I'm like, cat to dog ratio.
Yeah.
Might be time.
I mean, yeah, buy if you get a long-term bag, buy some.
But I
Like,
mean,
you just gotta be prepped that like it's. I think it's probably gonna go down. Like if you're buying like whiff, I think it's probably gonna go down like another 70%
deploying
from
very
here.
slowly for that reason, because I do think we are going to go sideways.
Yeah.
for a little
Steven just
while.
said down 70% from
It's trading
here.
at like 260 still. Like it's like come on, like it like
Another-
everything just exploded. Like I don't know. I've just seen this movie before. Like everything explodes.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh god, that was nasty, but it's over. Yeah, we're back. Buy the dip, and then like Bitcoin trades back up to like 68K or 70K, and everybody's like, woo, we're so back. And then like,
Yeah,
and then everybody mega
I'm
panics,
hearing
and
a lot
then
of
everybody.
confidence from
you
Armand.
have to be careful because you don't want to miss these opportunities. I missed them before, and so I'm deploying more than I would have, but I'm also cautious to make sure that I don't delay too long in order to try to time it right. So I think trying to time it right is a fool's game.
I don't
I-
think anyone's ready for 70% drawdowns
No.
from here.
I
No way.
I deployed less than I
way.
usually do. I tiptoed. I was like, all right, well, I have X amount, and I'll take a tenth of that, and I'll start now.
Tiptoeing is good.
Dude,
I think this is like a buy 25% of your thing.
I did
type
that, and I
deal.
feel trepidation. I want to exit
You,
that.
you want it back?
I want it back. I don't feel
no take
good.
backsies.
I'm in the mode right now where like I'm probably selling more if we pump this week. Like I want to get to even more cash, I think, just because I don't know. Like if you get to 70K Bitcoin again, you get to this point where like the penalty for being wrong to the upside becomes like very small, but the penalty for being wrong to the downside is like very, very large. And then you have to be like, like I don't know. But it just depends on how much cash you have and what you want to do. Like I just want to have more cash, right? That's just like a thing that I want, and like I don't want to. I don't know. Like I have these areas marked on the charts lower, and I just want to wait for them to get there. But again, still bullish.
All
Still
right.
bullish. Like if I look like a year out, you want to like optimize for capital gains or something. Yeah, go ahead, buy.
All right. so
Don't lever, please.
Let's move on to the next thing. I wanted to share this Donald Rumsfeld letter. You guys might have heard this before. So Donald Rumsfeld, he's a former Secretary of Defense, and every year he sends in a letter with his taxes. And Eric, why don't you put up this on the screen? And so this is Donald Rumsfeld writing to the Internal Revenue Service. You see the date's 2014. He writes it every year. And I'll read a few sentences here. But he says, "Dear Sir, Madam, I've sent in our federal income tax and our gift tax returns for 2013. As in prior years, it is important for you to know that I have absolutely no idea whether our tax returns and our tax payments are accurate. I say that despite the fact that I am a college graduate and I try hard to make sure our tax returns are accurate." He goes on to talk about how the tax code is so complex. And he says, "As in past years, I've spent more money than I wanted to spend to hire an accounting firm to prepare our tax returns, and I believe they're well qualified." And he keeps going on to say, "I should add that my wife of 59 years, also a college graduate, has signed our joint tax return, but she also knows that she does not have any idea whether or not our tax payments are accurate." I thought this might hit home for some crypto investors.
I was going to say, how much crypto does this guy have? Is he on layer 69? Like, what's going on?
I think he's commenting.
Like, as a normal person, it's not terrible.
It
Once you
is.
get into crypto,
No,
it's terrible.
Absolutely fucking terrible.
I mean,
Oh
So why don't we take this? This is a more modern take. So we'll throw this up on the screen. So this guy's name is Sean Frank at Sean Ecom. Screaming hot take alert. I don't actually care how much I pay in taxes. I'm incredibly blessed to make what I make. I choose to live in California, but what I do hate is that taxes are so complex that it takes 3 months and $300,000 to prepare and file my taxes. Simplify the tax code, make a flat tax, save me from the bureaucracy. And before I kind of like commiserate with this guy, let me find this one right here. So, despite how much the tax code has changed, over several decades, you look, this is a chart of the federal receipts as a percentage of gross domestic product. So, you probably can't see it, but in the chart here, it ranges from 15 to 20% and doesn't really move outside of those ranges. It obviously spiked in like 1930. That was like New Deal. They raised taxes so they could provide Social Security. Then we got into a war and they raised taxes even more. But since then, over the past 60 to 80 years, the government has roughly collected the same amount, a percentage of GDP, but it feels like, from my perspective, it comes more complex. And, Sean Frank, I'm not paying $300,000 to like file my taxes, but I'm paying tens of thousands of dollars to file my taxes, maybe like 30 to 40K.
Well, what's worse? What's worse?
Intense.
What's worse is that if you don't file it, like if you pay $300,000 and spend all this money and do all this effort, you still don't know. What's worse is that if you're wrong, they tell you exactly what you owe, and then you pay a penalty on it. So it's like, why is it so easy for you? Why don't I just send you these fucking
They don't
documents?
tell you what you owe. They tell you what they think you owe, and then they go prove that we're wrong.
So I have another take too. Maybe like 150 episodes ago, we kind of made fun of this girl on TikTok who was like, life is just so fucking hard and complicated. Like insurance, I don't understand it. Healthcare, I don't get it. And my whole take was like, I agree. Like this shit is so complicated that like Donald Rumsfeld doesn't understand it. How do you expect like a normal person to really know how to do this stuff?
Yeah, and I'd say if you have like your W-2 employee, you get your statement at the end of the year, you plug it in. It's probably pretty simple. TurboTax does the job. But if you have multiple businesses with multiple entities and K1s, and then you make investments in maybe multifamily properties who also have a K1 for every single investment, and then you take into account like tax credits that you might get in your business, your crypto trading. I mean, it just gets excessive, and it is a lot of work. Like I spent this weekend and the last weekend in the office just getting together all of the paperwork to make sure I understood. And then even then, like, we have to do I have to do this every quarter to pay estimated tax payments, and it's kind of a pain in the ass.
So how would you simplify it? Could you make like a much flatter tax system with like a simple, like how much money did you make, and that would bring the tax percent lower, but then it just gets a lot easier? Is that
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you could just call it 20% across the board.
on what you make?
Income tax,
Right.
businesses, C corps specifically, and then individuals 20% across the board. Because look at that's literally where the chart peaks out is at 20%.
Yeah, and the government would get the same cut, essentially.
I think so. But anyway, just a little tax week frustration that's been come to light. And
Do you guys file for extensions?
yeah, always.
I always do.
I
Yeah.
file for an extension
why are you
every
guys
year,
dealing
and then
with
I'm
it?
always
Because I have to pay
late
estimated tax payments.
You're late on the extension.
every single time. I pay
Yeah.
penalties like almost every single year.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
The penalties aren't that expensive. It's just like a small little interest rate.
I just can't do anything on time. It's like unbelievable. Like
Thank you for that. That was-
I
that
haven't
was-
I haven't paid my property taxes.
What?
I haven't
Ever?
registered my car in like 2 years. Like
Dude.
Oh my
I
god.
hope
An
nobody's
assistant.
listening
you
to
need
this.
a pepper pots, brother.
Oh my god.
Every time I get an assistant, like they just make my life more complicated because I have to manage them. And then like I went from having this like massive productivity system and an assistant to now like I just wake up and I just do a thing and I just do that thing and I just go to bed.
Oh my god.
And like it's like my life is simpler now in a way. But like I don't know. Yeah, I just don't do these things on time. I just can't do it. It's too much clutter. Like I don't have the freaking free real estate up
I
here
mean,
anymore.
I get it, but some of them are just like requirements.
It's like death by like a million fucking cuts. Well, you say the requirements, but like I don't know. Like I haven't paid a parking ticket in like 15 years, and I'm not in jail yet.
What?
You know?
How many collections do you have?
So many. It's probably really bad.
What's your credit score?
I don't know. I haven't checked it in a while.
We should go buy his debt,
How
then
did
he
you
owes
get-
us money.
I mean, I'm so terrified.
Right.
of
I
something going to
purchased a large
collections.
house, so apparently nothing bad happened as a result
I don't know
of
how
that.
you
know?
did because
I just keep. Here's what happens. I keep
get a parking
neglecting
ticket, I
things,
freak
and then
out.
like I wake up and like life is fine, and I'm just like, maybe it's not that big of a deal.
I had a parking ticket go to the wrong address accidentally, and then it went to collections. I freaked out. That kind of stuff bothers me. I like having perfect
Alright,
credit.
Same.
Tell me if I'm a bad person and a bad citizen, but I think the expected value on not paying for parking is positive.
Oh, it's super positive.
Yes, depending on the lot.
So I
Yeah,
think
depending on the
There's
law,
a
like
lot
do they check?
analysis as you drive in.
yeah, there's like some private lots that you don't really have to pay
It's
for.
definitely
right?
negative for the meters, though. You
Yeah.
gotta pay the meters.
The city
the
ones-
ratio is very bad on the
Okay.
meters.
The city ones, they'll tow you.
yeah, yeah.
There's a lot there. It's like, oh, scan the app and pay for it. I'm like, oh, so what you're telling me is that you don't have someone that comes here and checks if actually anyone paid for this. So
I mean, this city can't stop a guy from pooping on the street in front of me, but like if I go 3 minutes off over my thing, like there's a meter maid there to like give me a $35 ticket. Like
So
the efficiency
true.
That is a
is
good one.
remarkable.
the irony is just
The selective
absurd.
selective utilization
Yeah.
of resources.
So like there was a thing that I heard from Warren Buffett on the federal tax penalties. Like so Buffett would always like delay and then delay even further, and he was like, this is interest rate arbitrage because I can't
It's a cheap
borrow.
loan.
Yeah, I can't borrow at this rate. He was getting it at like 4%
So
from the government.
that's a good point. So I don't pay my federal estimated tax payments because it's a cheap loan, and same thing for the business.
But I looked it up today. They jacked it up. It's 8% now.
Yeah,
But it used to be like
still
4%.
I'd rather take that. I feel like I can get 8% better in my business. Oh God, I better be able
yeah,
to.
sure.
But California, I don't, because they're hardcore. They scare me. California scares me, so I pay those estimated tax payments.
I do pay my taxes.
Okay,
For
well,
the
the
record.
chat is
I think-
saying they
think
would
paying
like you to
taxes
pay
is
your
important.
property taxes, and they're just freaking out, stressing out, hearing about all the
Yeah,
things
it's
that
so
you don't
stressful.
Look, I
You've got
pay them. I
multiple
pay them
collections,
eventually.
No property taxes. Your car's unregistered. You could be in jail right now.
I
pay.
could be.
Selfishly, I like coming to your house for parties, so I would hate to see that, like,
Honestly, I
a
don't know
boot
how you're
on your
not in jail.
door.
So my
Can you
car,
imagine pulling him over? Just he runs the license plate, runs the ID. It's just like red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag in his computer.
I can't remember.
Just
I just
stir
can't
stuff out of
remember
the
to
car.
do it.
Steven's like, but I forgot.
By the way, so I bought my car. I had dealer plates on it, and I left them on for like 2 years.
Okay,
Like,
see,
I
that's
just-
a good hack.
Oh,
like that one.
right. So I left them on, and
like
I was
that.
just like, and then one day,
Just don't swap them.
yeah, I think like one day, like Amber said something to me about my license plate. And I was like, yeah, I should put my license. So I put the license plate on, but I didn't have the registration yet. But I was like, whatever. I put it on. Very next day, ticket,
Yeah,
Oh,
you
should've
need to have
kept
the
the
and I was like, I
registration.
should. Yeah, I was like, lesson learned
Yeah.
Take it for what?
for having like a expired
Expired?
registration on the plate.
Because you didn't have this right sticker. Yeah.
you weren't up.
But the dealer plate lasted for years.
Because the dealer plate doesn't need a sticker.
It does. It still has an expiration on it.
Oh, it does?
It just doesn't have like a sticker.
Okay.
So I think people just look at the
I'll be
sticker
honest,
or something.
I thought you adulted pretty well before this conversation. Now I'm slightly concerned.
No, I used to adult well until I started like getting into cryptocurrencies, and now I don't adult at all.
You could even handle traveling, though.
I can't.
And I
can't
imagine
handle
you
it.
traveled
Like-
pretty comfy.
I need a vacation from my vacation. Was the
Somebody,
exact
Tyler, I pay my property taxes. I just don't
said
pay
you
them on
don't.
time.
Okay.
I don't pay them on time. like-
I don't know if you included that.
Property
I thought
tax
you-
is one thing, but like the $30 ticket I got that fell out of my pocket, and then I just forget about it. Like I just forget about it.
We're gonna start a DAO
I just forget
to
about it.
buy the tax lien on Steve's
Yes,
house.
that's what I'm talking about.
Cheap foreclosure.
And we'll just call it some like
Bad idea. Alfalfa house.
Can we?
some anonymous entity that buys it. And he's like, "What the
Steven,
fuck?
you can still come.
Can we just start a GoFundMe for all my parking tickets?
Why does Alfalfa Discord LLC own the lien on my house? What the hell?
I think that's a good idea. We
Let's
bail
not
them
do
out.
that.
Everyone just shows up to stay at night. Yeah, it's their San Diego crash pad now. They own a
Community.
piece of this.
Community owned.
I saw a pretty interesting video over the weekend. So I'm not really into UFC as much. I used to watch it early on, but I don't know. It just got so complicated and like I couldn't follow any of the fighters.
Dude,
but
I can't follow anything. Like Joe Rogan's like, oh, did you see that? He just kind of isosceles triangle hold and then put him in this reverse. And I'm just like, what?
when I go to the gym, I need to like brush up on UFC and sports before I walk in because I realize I don't have much in common with other males my age,
You're
other
no
than you
longer-
guys.
You're no longer like capable of having a normal conversation.
Yeah, they're like, so did you see the game? I'm like, oh, the game,
You're like,
the game.
Bitcoin,
okay,
Bitcoin.
what sports are playing
Oh
now?
my God. Like I don't get into these situations as much anymore, but there's a time in my life where I like checked out of society. So when I grew up, I was like,
This is so bad.
when I grew up, I was like kind of like, like mildly autistic and I just did my thing, right? And then I like was like, oh, I have to blend in with society, and then I have to like learn about sports and all these things, and it was just like, how do you do, fellow men? And like, so I learned how to talk to girls, and so I did that for a while. But then I got older, and I was just like, I just don't care anymore. But then I would get into these situations where I'd be like around a bunch of like other guys. They'd be like talking about stuff, and I'd be like, how do I blend in here? And then I'd be like, just searching for like, and I would just insert some like random comments. Like they'd be talking about sports, and I'd just throw something I knew from the 90s about Jordan or something. And they'd be like, oh yeah, Jordan is like, it's something. And then I just like kind of.
It's that easy to talk to a guy. Yeah, fucking Jordan, man.
Yeah. Well, anybody who like plays in the NBA today at all,
Oh
so
my
I just
God.
think I would do that to kind of. So I feel your pain.
I before I go to this conference in Vegas in January, I watch playoff football, and my fiance's like, "What are you doing? You don't watch sports." I'm like, "Well, I need to like just get up to speed.
I have to
Yeah.
acquire. I have to acquire
Does this
knowledge.
actually work?
There's,
if you
there's
could
no
hear me out."
time that I feel more vulnerable and naked than when I go to the barbershop.
Oh,
That is like the epitome of the nexus of the culture of the universe. And I just hop in. And my barber at this point, he goes easy on me because he knows I don't know anything. Like, but he knows I know from like a time before. Like when I had time to play like fantasy sports and like time to like stay up on sports
oh
in
my
general.
God, you're so right. The barbershop, I also feel vulnerable because
Because they
they're just
always
like,
have sports on at the barbershop too. So there's like Padres games on, and there's like big Warriors fans in there. There's big like just everything, right? My barber's also from the Bay Area, like me. So he's always like, we're chatting about, man, have you been to this, or you been in any game? And I'm at this point like where I'm open about my level of knowledge. And he's still consistently, really? Like, you really didn't know that, like, this is happening or that's happening? And I'm just like, yeah, man, sorry.
So you guys
bro.
don't
I've
like
been
watching
busy.
this stuff? Like you don't like
I don't watch
sports or
sports.
anything? Like you don't even like it?
No.
No,
Like
I
if
mean,
you had the time?
I like it. It just
No.
takes like so much freaking time.
all right,
No.
I like
I
Formula
don't
One.
view it as like a positive ROI.
I think of it
At
as like an
all.
event in my life to go to and participate in, but like no, I don't
but
like
you know
sit
I
down
watch
and
soccer, so the way I would actually illustrate this is like the window of time I had for sports shrunk, and
Yeah.
then I was left with only being able to choose the one that I was like genuinely passionate about. But before, sure, throw on
Yeah,
any
yeah.
sport, and I'm just like, it's good background. I had the time.
So you still like it?
I still like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to know what's going on. I just don't have the time for
Right.
it.
I think that makes more sense to me.
Yeah. That's
know-
what it is.
But
You
you
know,
guys are so unrelatable. This is weird.
I actually think this is more common now than it used
that's
to be.
because you're the guy. I have to
Yeah.
like
I know,
pretend to like
I'm
blend
exactly
in with,
the-
and I'm relating.
Yeah.
I am relating to these two over here.
No, I fit in very well with just like the norm.
oh yeah, we know you do.
You're a great chameleon.
Yeah.
But I watch every Formula One race. Like maybe you watch some soccer games, but Formula One's got 20 players, 10 teams. It's just like super easy to
Easy.
follow. And
I like that.
I can follow it. It's also easy to bet on.
That's good. I
Okay,
can deal with that.
so back to your UFC point.
Yeah.
I think what I found hard is like that it's changing all the time. Like whoever was great, it's like
Yeah.
a year later, it's like somebody else. And now there's this new
there's-
guy.
I'm like,
It's a new guy like every 3 weeks in UFC. It's
yeah.
like,
So
Yeah.
so
track.
I don't know who this guy is, but let's throw this up on the screen. And he won his fight, and he decides to use his post-fight interview. So I'll play it, and we'll see what he says here.
you go to the beginning.
Yeah.
I
I love property. But let me tell you something. If you care about your fucking country, read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
Hold on, read that
All
out.
right, so let's read it out because he's got a thick accent. He says, "I love
Quote.
private property." And let me tell you something. If you care about your fucking country, read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
This is such a crazy like post-game interview.
So what's going on? Like that doesn't happen often when like a celebrity has a limelight. They're a fighter doesn't often have that.
Is that a top signal?
I don't know, but he's chosen to talk about Austrian economics.
For what?
and-
Austrian economics?
Just like no, because he also said he wants his payout because he got a 300K bonus for a knockout, and he wants his payout in Bitcoin.
Ooh. Not a top signal.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
I think this guy's pretty just based.
This guy's base as fuck, yeah.
But is our like fiscal situation becoming part of the normal conversation now? Like, are most people aware that like our country is semi-bankrupt? Is this a thing?
It's super interesting because like I've observed this too, like that these like formerly sort of esoteric elements of like Austrian economics have like seeped their way into just like the dialogue of like the common man. Like the people that are like talking about it, like it's a thing that is accepted as like a part of their reality of the world or the world as they see it. And I don't know, it's pretty bullish for the coins. Well, one of the coins.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and I can't believe this came up and it spread and I feel like someone put in the
Yeah, so I dropped in some stats in
yeah,
the
what's
notion
stat
too.
you saw?
Well, after this happens, so there's a Ludwig von Mises like library or something, and they sold out of all of their copies of this
I love when this happens.
pamphlet.
I love
And
it.
then like there's also a digital download of it, and I got 50,000 digital downloads like after this happened.
Wow.
So I'm just
That's
imagining
insane.
all these people watching this UFC fight, and they're like, I gotta download
read
this
some
paper on
Ludwig
Austrian
von
economics.
Mises.
This PDF.
The best part about it is like when someone like that educates the public, it immediately makes everyone else feel like they're behind. Like the fact that even just speaking for myself, like the fact that this fighter knows what the 6 lessons are and I don't, made me feel like I immediately need to go study them.
Have you guys read
I was
that? Like, has anybody read that? Do you know what
I've read
Ludwig's
like
saying?
Austrian School of Economics literature way like a long time ago, but I don't recall. I didn't even recall Ludwig specifically. Like so
It's all
no.
stuff
Like,
that you just like 100% know because it's
So-
just
Yeah,
a
it's
part
like-
of things that we talk
like,
about.
It's like time preference and capital, opportunity cost, marginalism. How you evaluate like individualism and methodologically. Like
It's like very basic commentary on like capitalism and socialism that at the time was like a really, but like now like we look at it and we go like, yeah, that's,
But I had to go. My point is, I had to go freshen up. I was like, oh, the 6 lessons, yeah, and Ludwig. What did Ludwig do specifically? And it sent me down a rabbit hole. And yeah, I think that's a really cool way to use your podium.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
really
he
cool.
probably educated like a couple 100,000 people,
Yeah.
maybe more, maybe 1 million people.
oh for sure
Totally.
more if you got 50,000 downloads.
50,000
Yeah.
downloads.
Like,
Sold
what's
out
the
the
conversion
libraries.
rate? Like the 1% conversion rate to download? That would mean he's at like 5 million.
Yeah, you're right. And this was a UFC 300, so it had a pretty large audience. It was like a big
ticket, yeah.
event, big ticket event.
So I think your question was good, though. Your question was like, is something shifting in the overall psyche and awareness that people have toward like the reality that we live in economically? I think the answer to that is yes. I think people know that there's like a sort of like fairy tale that they've been living in and that there's a lot happening behind the scenes.
Gradually, then suddenly.
Well, why is gold the only thing that's pumping? Why not the coins?
I don't know, it's scaring me.
Oh, it pumped fine. Don't worry about it. It's like interesting though. Like when I talk to like I can pill anybody in my family who's like a right winger on Bitcoin now. Like you're just you have this like path where just like you just zero in on this like kind of like institution like anti-institutional government and they're just like, oh fuck yeah, this thing's like you immediately they all get it because it plugs into this narrative they have in their head already. It's like already in there.
It
And
was
that's
like
just,
libertarians at first, and now it's just anybody on the right.
they just don't trust the people in government, and they think they all hate them, and
I
they
mean,
think they're
Austrian
manipulating
economics
shit
is
and,
more less government, and then the opposite would be what, like, in terms of theories and schools of thought, Keynesian is more like the government supplies the demand. You know, the government is the main, you know, source of demand to buy. But it is
Austrian versus MMT.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy though to think like, you know, it doesn't matter which like side of the aisle is in office because they're both going to be printing shitloads. You know, it's
Oh
like,
yeah, Trump's not going Austrian.
right. Nobody's going Austrian.
No.
It doesn't matter who, but
No, it's like the die has been cast.
right.
So it's just like a slow moving train wreck at this point.
Can we move on to a little AI corner?
Yeah, I'll let you move on.
Okay. Well, I want Armand to. Well, first, I kind of want to make a drink, and then maybe while I'm doing that, Armand, you want to introduce this Limitless rebrand because you've used this product as it was, and
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah. So
It
Eric, why
was.
don't you throw this up on the screen for a second, and Armand, you want to describe what this product is, and then maybe we can talk about the humane AI bin too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. So, yeah, Limitless, as it says, it's a web app, a Mac app, Windows app, and a wearable. So it looks like the company Rewind AI has a new name, and they're only like a few months old, so that's interesting.
Well, you have this thing, right?
And I have it. I'm a user. I'm a customer of
Oh,
Rewind.
you have it?
Yeah.
Wait, where's the visual?
No. So the visual, all they did was
Oh, you have Rewind.
they launched a pre-order. This is a
Oh,
promotional
so it's
video
not out yet.
to like launch the pre-order.
Rewind is
I
software,
gotcha.
right? That just
Rewind
captures
is
everything that
software.
goes
It's
on.
watching everything you do and recording everything on your
Oh,
screen.
this is the thing that's in the background on
Yeah.
your computer, just recording everything you do that you
Everything you
talk
do.
about. Oh.
And making it searchable. It's decent. To be honest, the reason I have it was more like a why not? It was like a hedge. I'm like, if this ends up becoming like a standard piece of software and a standard way of living, then at least I started early and I can always go back. And I felt it almost to me was like akin to like taking photos. I'm like, yeah, just take the photos. Why
You're in the
not?
game too. I feel like you need to be like on top of
Yeah,
these products, and
I'm like, why not? And I also am testing.
yeah.
So like it has a lot of shortcomings though. So really what they've done here is a rebrand. And then while they were still Rewind, they did promote, like I remember seeing emails and tweets about this. It's like, hey, we're launching a pendant was the way they released it, if I'm not mistaken. And it was like a necklace that you wear. It was like that was the positioning in the photo, I think. And I think it still is actually kind of like on a chain or a necklace or something. But it's a wearable. So hardware, software integration. Now they're stepping out from just recording what you're doing on your computer and making that searchable and recording your meetings and stuff to like you're walking around with a device. And it's like if Eric and I meet up and we have an Alfalfa meeting and we have a beer, I could say, hey, cool if I record this. Guarantee you 99% of people don't get consent. Separate topic. And then I record our interaction. I can reference it. I can ask it questions. They have a lot of like, for the amount of money that they've raised though, like their AI just does not work well. I don't want to be like, what's his name? That
You don't
blew up
You don't want to
Humane.
kill the product.
I don't
like
want to kill the product.
Marquez Brownlee.
But I did post my honest thoughts in our Discord in the tech channel where I was like, oh, wait a second. I already pre-ordered this. I didn't even realize. And I'm already a user and I never use it. Like it just runs in the background and it's absolutely useless.
So you actually haven't had to use it and go back and be like, oh, what was I looking for at this time? And
I just think that I want to be bullish on stuff like this, and I do see the value, but the value of stuff like this is like, it's not, you're not solving a real problem. It's valuable in the moments where you're like in a pinch, and you're like, you didn't even know you needed it.
I feel
And
like
you're
you use it for like
damn.
AI insurance, just in case I
Yeah.
want to capture
It's
everything.
like, what did I say that day to Steven? But the problem with it is, if I say something like, what did I say about a year ago to Steven about Bitcoin, it won't even do it well. It just It won't find the answer. And then like it records your meetings, and the meeting recording software. So I'm paying for this like $30 a month. It's so bad that I don't even use it for the meeting recording and the transcript. The transcription is terrible. They're not even using Whisper.
Oh.
I don't know what they're using. Like these are all things that they can improve. I don't even know why it's so bad. Like my company with very little funding has a far superior product in terms of like, and we don't compete at all, by the way, but just in like the basic AI things that cross over, I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
Like,
your
why are they
transcription
not?
is flawless.
Why are they not doing it well? Like, what's so hard about summarizing a Zoom?
Wait, why don't you do this?
Well, this is a completely different industry. We don't want anything to do with that. But
No?
my point
Is it
is,
a bad industry?
it's an extremely competitive industry. The like meeting recording AI software. I mean, first of all, you're competing with Zoom. Like, why do you want
Because
to do
Zoom
that?
has a built-in native.
Yeah, like they were always going to do it. They've done it. I get a flawless email after every meeting that goes like, "Here's everything that was talked about."
Yeah.
By the way, I think you were in my Zoom room.
Yeah,
today.
I was testing out the audio.
I got like a summary.
The summary,
I'm
you're like,
yeah.
it's silent.
I'm
This
like,
guy's just cussing at the
Yeah,
equipment.
yeah.
Weird.
But it's like, okay, and there's great tools out there, right? Otter. There's a couple other big players that I can't think of off the top of my head that have already turned into like 10, 20, 30 plus $1 million companies in terms of just revenue alone. But it's so competitive. So let's just say that these guys do well. At the end of the day, I don't know. It's just like, it's such a nice to have. The software needs to improve tremendously for the amount of money that they've raised. I think it's like 27 million. It might just be in the last few months. God, hire some talent and crush the AI game at least. Like you can do so much better. So I'm bullish on it as being like a nice to have thing as a software in the future. Where I'm really curious, your guys' perspective is the hardware piece, the wearable piece.
Sounds like these are down bad because like if the software isn't good enough,
The software will get good enough.
okay, that will get good enough. I'm just not on board with it. And we saw, I don't know anyone out there who knows who Marquez Brownlee is. I didn't really know of him until maybe in the past like 3 to 4 months when the Apple Vision Pro came out. I realized
He's been a huge tech reviewer for a long time.
This guy gets
huge.
This
millions
guy
of
started
views.
as like a 12-year-old.
He's got
Oh, really?
18 million subs.
Dude, I saw a
He's
video.
been making
of him.
videos since like 2009, I think.
Dude, he was like a child. I saw his like one of his first videos.
Yeah,
recently.
he's just making videos, and there's like no lighting. You can barely see.
Yeah.
It's just like
He's been
sitting in a
grinding.
dark room, grinding, you know?
grinding.
he's been doing this for over like 10 years.
grinding.
Yeah,
bro.
you like listen to his first video. He's like, "Hi there."
No, literal child.
He's
Oh,
like,
wow.
He's
like,
like
he might be like
gets to
12 years
11.
old. Hey, welcome to my channel. I do tech
So-
reviews. You know.
Now this guy, this influencer, if you will, is like he
MBL.
MBL. He can raise
call
and crush companies with a video. So I think he put the
So I
dagger
ended up watching it.
and
Very honest, very clear, detailed. The guy's amazing at what he
Do you
does.
watch his stuff? Like, I actually
No, it's the
watch his.
first one I've
oh,
watched.
I actually watch his stuff
Dude,
all the
he's
time
good.
because I really like
He's
his
good.
content. It's really good.
but so to be clear
It
before we
helps
go on,
nerds like me that really care about the details. Like he was like going through so many nuances that I would want as a like in my tech review.
yeah,
like,
so
he's good.
he reviewed the Humane AI pen, which we talked about, I don't know, a handful of episodes ago, and the title of the video was the worst product I've ever reviewed so far.
Yeah, he said it was terrible. I went through the whole video.
It's $100 million in funding, was it?
$100 million in funding, backed by Sam Altman and many other people like that, and absolute blunder.
I mean, people,
Absolute
people were flipping out.
The only
on
thing
Twitter
good
over
about
him.
it, he said, is the form factor and hardware is very quality, but it just sucks. It doesn't do what you want it to do, and he's like, that's like 8 out of 10 times.
So are
Like, it
people
just
actually
doesn't-
getting mad, just upset that one voice can take down a whole business? Is that what people are upset
Yeah,
about?
like people are making all these threads on Twitter like, this is so irresponsible. Like,
Those
if you
people
have
can go fuck
something-
themselves.
Tell me how you really feel.
Why do you feel so passionate about it?
Because,
Whoa.
well, I saw a couple of these threads. I think I think people have lost their fucking minds.
Sorry,
I think people have lost their minds.
that felt like That felt like when we were reading a script and there's like two actors and I'm saying like a line and you're supposed to like interject but do it. You know how whenever you like read lines where one person interjects the other and if you aren't professional actors it sounds awkward. It's just like I don't know. It just always feels like that. We've been like, you know. And I'm just like people on like, dude, and you're no, it's so bad.
I'm just glad to see you laughing, dude. Like, why don't you unclench your jaw for a second?
So much rage. He's been like keeping that in. He's been sitting there just stewing. He's like those.
Just blown away at how disrespectful people have become toward people online who are simply in like, especially like, again, I'm not a fan of this guy. This is the first video I've watched, but I can tell who someone is in terms of their integrity pretty quickly. I think like human beings have a good radar for that. You can like watch somebody and be like, this person's just being genuine.
Some human beings.
Some human beings.
So he's a serious person.
I agree.
He's not like, he's not a con.
He's super likable.
He's super
He
likable.
feels like
the guy
super
is
authentic.
just sitting there making videos. He's absolutely monetizing. He's absolutely making a living. He's absolutely crushing it, and he deserves every goddamn penny because he's been doing this since he was a child, and he worked his ass off to become the YouTube superstar, which is every kid's dream these days. And he found a niche of doing these tech reviews, and then people want to give him a hard time because he said this is the worst product I've ever reviewed. That's what he believes.
It's an honest review.
That's his answer. You don't like the podcast? Turn off the fucking podcast. You don't like the review? Turn off the review. And like, you don't get to tell people what to say. If you don't like what they say, go make a video where you need to go earn an audience.
Okay, hold on.
Get the people to back you where you have a different opinion.
Because people would-
That's how you develop.
People would hate it more if he gave disingenuous reviews.
100%.
So all we're saying is that there's people online that just want to be mad.
That's it. So anyway, I think we give those voices way too much. Way too much light. We should honestly be ignoring that shit. The fact that he got hate for it, I don't even think it's worth talking
Right, but
about.
I think the point is like, do you think that you have like any responsibility? Like, if you have such a huge following that you could basically like kill
Is this
a
any
brand
different
single-handedly?
than the times we've talked about it in other contexts? Like we've talked about responsibility of who you interview. as
I
a
don't think it's that
podcaster.
different, but
Is
I
it
think
that
I also
different?
had right, but I had a similar. I think I had like a similar opinion in that.
I
time as
fell
well.
in the camp of this is a difficult topic, but ultimately individuals should be left to decide for themselves and do their own research and be responsible to form their own opinions. Because if we try to do any hand-holding, we immediately fall into the camp of like, well, who's doing the supervising of how much hand-holding is necessary, and determining what figures we should interview, to what degree we should be honest about the products that we review. I think it's kind of in the same camp.
I'm not saying like the government should ban you from like reviewing things because you might cause damage. I'm just saying like you should think about, you know, if you have like an enormous platform, there's some responsibility.
No,
to think
no.
about
The
what might
responsibility is
happen.
to be genuine to what you think, because that's why people
It's
follow
a
you.
tech
And on the
review.
Okay, well,
platform.
here's like
he actually was Sorry, I'll let you go. But he said he was like, I thought of calling this video like, this is just a really bad product, or I'm just really stupid. Like that was what he thought. He's like, this must be me. Like he's self-aware enough to know, like, hey, this is just my opinion. It doesn't work for me.
I think that's totally fine. How about this? Like, I've seen where like journalists in the past are coming out with a piece that's like, you know,
Hit piece?
going to be like slandering somebody, and they'll like warn them in advance, like, hey, just so you know, my article's coming out, and here's what it's going to say. And maybe he's doing that, or maybe not. Do you think there's like some sort of responsibility like that, like journalistically, like how like the journalists that I know would actually do that?
no, but I bet the people at Humane are absolutely fucking freaking out.
Oh, sure.
And they're contacting him and being like, let's bring you to the office, let's educate you, let's try to show you what's coming next. And I think on the other side of the coin of, you know, an influencer like that can take down your business. Eric, can you throw this up on the screen real quick? So we mentioned this guy Sean Frank earlier about his taxes. He owns this company called Ridge, and it's a wallet company. And
he's
so
the
he
Ridge
took
wallet guy?
what he did is he teamed up with Marquez Brownlee. So you see everyday carry like MKBHD. That's his YouTube channel. So he said, why don't I just get this guy on my team and align our incentives? So I'm pretty sure Marquez Brownlee got paid a nice little penny for being part of this. He's integrated into the product design from the beginning, and he has his top picks. And so now, there's opportunity to take a heavy influencer like him, get him earlier in the process, have him,
Smart.
and now, so that's what this company did. And I think there's another side of that coin, if you're willing to be creative, you can use these influencers and these reviewers.
And think about how much courage it took. Like, do you have responsibility to think about the impact of your review as a tech reviewer because you have a big platform? Sure, but also think about how many people become sellouts in their music, in their craft. The fact that he still was honest, I think shows remarkable courage that he was able to be like, I know the cost of this is going to be significant. I'm going to take down, it could take down.
Do you think
company.
he needed to title the video, "This is the worst product I've ever reviewed"?
Yeah, Adam in the chat says the critiques I've seen say that even though the review was good and substantive, the title was clickbaity and hyperbolic.
So when we met yesterday and you told me that was the title of the video, I was like, oh, it must be clickbait.
That
Like
was
a
your
joke,
exact
almost.
response.
That was exact. I said, there's no way
Well, it is
he believes
clickbait.
that. Then I watched the video. That's what he believes. It's not clickbait. I did
It's-
not feel clickbaited when
It's
I watched that
legit
video.
bait. That's what
Yeah.
we
He
call it.
literally.
Oh, it is legit bait. You're right.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
You
but-
will.
Let's get you to bed, Grandma.
So it was good legit bait. It was good legit
Yeah,
bait.
it was.
I didn't feel like he didn't deliver. He delivered on the title. He delivered on his promise. This is the worst product I've ever reviewed.
He did this before. He nuked Fisker. Have you watched that video?
Oh, that's
No.
the EV company.
Yeah, I watched that video and it came out. And he's basically
Fisker freaked out. Have you seen the
yeah.
videos?
He was like, yeah, it's the worst car ever. He was very hard on it. He's like, I cannot wait to stop driving this thing.
And I think they've gone
It's
under
so bad.
now.
Oh, they're dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a YouTube video of a Fisker product manager trying to get in contact with Marquez Brownlee, freaking out.
Yeah, they didn't handle it super well apparently.
Yeah, and they of course videotaped the phone call. So now, after the terrible review, they got the Fisker product manager freaking out, being like, "We need to get in touch with him. He needs to come here. We need to fix this. He's
That's,
screwing
even
us
worse.
up." Yeah, complete desperation. All right, so let's transition a bit.
This is so funny.
So who put this in the card?
So I put these next to.
Okay, you put in the card. So let's pull these up here.
So we need the audio in the video, but basically,
I need to buy
you
more
gotta play
Baden.
it- You got to play it with audio from the top.
I don't own enough Baden.
All right, so let's cue
Yeah,
this
no
up.
context. Just play it.
Mr. President, to Iran in this moment.
Don't.
Our American personnel at that risk.
If you're not watching, he's just walking away from the podium.
Risk as well.
We are devoted to the defense of Israel. We will support Israel. We will help defend Israel, and Iran will not succeed. Thank you very much.
His turn is so weird. It's just he's kind of looking at you while he turns away.
So I imagine you wanted to contrast it with this tweet here.
Yeah. So what that was is literally they asked Biden, what do you say to Iran? And he just says, don't. And then in 2018, Trump says to the president, air quotes, of Iran, in all caps, of course, in Donald Trump fashion, never, ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious.
That was a terrible impression.
I don't
I
do
want
that.
an
to. I want to hear
impression,
your.
it was a-
I want
it was
to
a
hear your
reading of
Trump
the
impression
script.
next time.
I don't do that.
That was a missed opportunity, Armand. We
I
know you
should've
have
stuck to
good.
it.
We know you have
I
good
should've stuck to
impressions.
it. I don't do
We know you have a
Trump. I
great
don't do Trump.
Arnold.
I
You
don't
don't have
do
a good Trump.
I don't do a good Jordan Peterson. I got an Arnold and a few others, but that's about
Just read it in the Arnold voice. To Iranian President Rouhani.
never ever. No, but for real, I mean, the contrast is the show of strength, the fear that one president sort of was able to impart on an entire nation, if not the world. That ability to be unpredictable in war games created peace. The irony was that everyone, including myself, thought Trump was the war machine. Trump was the threat to the world. Trump was the one that was going to create the chaos. There is a Biden campaign video specifically targeted at the fact that Trump will cause war with Iran. Have you seen that, Nick?
No, I haven't.
So it's like the whole campaign video is like, this is the guy that's going to cause the U.S. to go to war with Iran. Who's the one that's gotten us closer to that?
Ooh, I know.
But I'm with you.
However, I am happy to see that Biden said most recently to Israel, like, with your next move, and I say this as an American, thank God that Biden is drawing a line and saying, we're not going to support your next. We support you in ironclad, but we're not going to get drawn into the conflict.
Yeah.
Because war is not popular right now. Nobody wants this war in America.
But it also went from, hey, Bibi, take the win,
right,
and just don't do anything, to then, okay, well, if you're going to do something, we're not going to get involved, to then they asked, like, the spokesperson of the, I don't know if it's Department of Defense or Pentagon or whatever, Kirby, they're like, did the U.S. provide suggestions to Iran or to Israel for their response back? And he, like, definitely wordsmithed his way around that answer. He didn't say, no, we're not giving them suggestions. So, like,
that's
quickly,
insane.
in
The
just
whole
a few
world
days,
is picking up the phone, calling Bibi, giving suggestions. The whole world has been trying to reach him for the first couple days after the missiles went off. Like, he was ignoring the phone calls.
Do not disturb.
Yeah, it was on Do Not Disturb, and then he took some phone calls. He talked to the what's the UK guy's name? He talked to him. Was told, please don't escalate this. We don't want a regional conflict, whatever. But I was glad to at least see, like, people saying, like, hey, okay, like, the world doesn't need a regional conflict. But on the other hand, like, playing tit for tat, like, if you're in their position, in Iran's position or in Israel's position, like, it's so natural to get angry and want to react.
Wait, hold up. I want to get your opinion on this as our in-house geopolitical strategist. One thing I've observed in recent years is that we're very big on, like, not escalating, and, like, we have this idea that, like, if we do anything retaliatory, we're gonna, like, cause World War III all the time. And it seems like in the West we have this, like, idea of how this works, that, like, the leaders of the Middle East, like, don't, like, they're not thinking the same way we are. Like, it feels like they looked at Trump and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, he's being strong, we shouldn't do anything. And it's like there's this, like, I think you saw this with, like, the Obama, like, approach to Iran, where they're like, well, what if instead of being, like, very mean to them, we just, like, gave them a bunch of money, and, like, we're just, like, nice to them. They'll, right, like, kind of, like, but, like, it feels to me that, like, you have to like escalate. You have to show that you're actually willing to, like, take a stand, right? Because it seems like these people are just, like, they're just perceiving it as weakness, like, over and then you end up, like, inadvertently, like, causing more death and destruction because, like, people just keep going and going and going going.
I will say this is one of the beliefs that I held pretty strongly that I really don't anymore. I used to look at these large organizations that helped coordinate big powers in the world as, like, a set of booby traps, and they were good, and that aligning financial incentives with your enemies was a good idea. Like, letting China into the World Trade Organization, good idea. Let them get a taste of capitalism. Let them see how rich their country and their people can be. Let's trade. We'll have so much economic ties that in no way would they want to disrupt that. But I think that we've seen, China on multiple fronts be confrontational to the U.S. And we did try that with Iran, with that I don't know what you call it, nuclear agreement, I guess, to try to get them in line economically. But I don't know. I kind of don't really hold that view anymore. And I think it's maybe proven false. And when I read that original tweet in 2018, I also thought, I was like, this motherfucker's crazy. Like, our president is basically saying like, yeah, we'll go to war. Take one more step closer, and I'll light you up. And war with Iran, strategically, geographically, is not really great for the U.S. Like, it's not like this. Oh, we'll destroy them. Like that could go on for years, and not necessarily. I don't think it's 100% sure that we would win. It sounds surprising, but if you read through some of these like war plans and like scenarios, it's not necessarily good. So I think I'm kind of with you that I think Reagan was the one who said peace through strength.
Yeah.
But you have to actually show the strength. You can't just have it in your inventory. Like,
Oh, you can't say don't?
yeah.
Hey,
Don't.
hey,
He
don't.
tried to dad them.
I mean, it was a.
What do you think they were doing? Like in their, do they have a palace? Where do they all hang out in Iran? I don't know. Is it a palace? They're all sitting in their palace. Do you think they just watched that and they said don't, and they don't, and they were like, oh fuck, did he say don't?
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Do you think,
He said
guys? Do you
don't.
think we should not do it now?
How do you say he said
think
don't in Farsi?
Not one.
Versus
Not
they
one.
probably saw the Trump tweet and they were like, is this guy serious? And then the other guy was like, I don't know, he's kind of retarded. It's like, oh, so he might do it. Like I don't know. They're probably sitting there like I don't know,
Exactly.
right? Strategic retardation.
Machiavellian,
Let's
dude.
bring it back.
Machiavellian
Bring it back.
retardation. Yeah, you don't know what he's gonna do.
It's not strategic ambiguity anymore.
No, it's strategic retardation. We'll teach classes at this on this at the university in 10 years. There'll be photos of Trump in all of the books.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were in the office, just like, hey, this looks like something's gonna happen, and we were like wondering what is gonna happen, and we were just talking about how it's gonna be a fuck ton of drones coming in. I don't know if you guys remember, but
Oh, you called that?
yeah, because remember Iran, they blew up Saudi Arabia like oil refinery using like 50 to 100 drones, and they blew it up, and thing lit on fire, and it hurt Saudi Arabia's like ability to spit out oil barrels of oil. And Israel's known for having their air defenses. I've been there when that thing has lit up and kind of saved people.
The Iron Dome.
Yeah, but I knew about the Iron
Iron
Dome. I
Dome.
didn't know about David Sling and then that Arrow 2. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Hold on, I haven't heard of these things. They-
David Sling?
Okay, so Iron Dome is like the
Where
closest.
do they get all these sick names?
yeah, these
The
are
Bible.
awesome.
The Bible.
Mostly the
Who's the
Bible.
Iron Dome in the Bible? That's in the Bible?
No,
too?
no, it was David Sling.
David
But,
Sling, yeah. That's funny.
Iron Domes from the Bible.
So the Iron Dome protects against the closest threats. And then David Sling, if you imagine like the kind of like missiles that are further away, and then Arrow 2. I don't know if you guys saw this video, but they actually intercepted a ballistic missile
Yeah, I saw
in
that.
the exo atmosphere. So outside of our atmosphere.
Right, because Iron Dome was like short range.
Yeah.
So
And that thing
now-
is awesome.
It's so cool.
It's
Wait, so
incredibly
this is
good.
David Sling?
No, this was
goes
the
into
Arrow
the-
2. This was the one that protects them the furthest. So there's the ballistic missiles,
My
which
God.
Iran has.
Then what's Arrow 3?
I don't know.
What's
I mean,
Arrow 1?
I
Can't
think
tell
it's
you.
Arrow 3.
Arrow 3?
It must be called Arrow 3
Okay.
because I know there's an Arrow 3.
Okay, then maybe it is Arrow 3.
Yeah.
But they intercepted this thing in space, and while there's ignition in space, right, you can obviously like ignite fuel. Fire doesn't really happen because there's no oxygen, so the explosion looked like this like array of energy, intergalactic array of energy.
Yeah.
I thought that was fascinating to
Pretty
watch.
cool video.
Wait,
yeah.
weird. You can see this. You can actually see this video of the
Yeah.
explosion.
Yeah, you can see it in the sky, but it's
a
outside the
little-
atmosphere, and it doesn't look like what a typical
It's not like a
collision.
fireball.
Yeah, it's not a fireball.
Huh.
Um,
Wild.
Yeah, but anyway, on one hand, I think Iran is just kind of like, well, we have to do something, and I think their audience was not Israel, and it wasn't. Well, it was certainly the U.S., but it was more importantly to their right-wing part of their party and their citizens. They probably made an epic, video clip of missiles
yeah.
firing in the air and use it as propaganda to see, like, look how hard we hit them, and the other side. Let's put up this tweet. So, Anas Al-Haji, he's a international oil expert. So, he's kind of an analyst. So he said Iran gave Netanyahu the gifts of a lifetime, saved his government and his political career. Israel will get massive financial and military aid from the U.S. and other European countries. He will get a freer hand in Gaza and the West Bank. He will have a free hand to attack targets in Syria and Lebanon. Iran gave Biden 2 gifts. He will get Congress approval to supply aid and weapons to Israel. He is now free to withdraw oil from the SPR, which Stephen just mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Anyway, so
I don't get it. Like, how is that a gift from Iran? That was just done. This was all orchestrated to receive those results. Like, no one's gonna not respond. So, like, I think the whole thing. I don't think we have any idea what's going on. I don't think we ever do when it comes to the geopolitical game. There is just, first of all, we gave $10 billion to Iran like a month ago, and the fact that like that attack was happening at all.
Oh, it's like that meme
Which meme?
with my tax dollars. Like, somehow also my tax dollars, and there's just like missiles going up.
Missiles going at each other.
Yeah, dude.
It's like the meme of the year.
Steven's brain literally analyzes in real time with like,
only
oh, it's
memes.
like that meme.
Yeah.
You've
memes-
done that many times.
That's why memes are so powerful.
Yeah,
They're so powerful. People just like they look and they go, "Oh, I got it." Yeah.
It is.
I agree. Both war actors should be dependents on your taxes.
So 100%. Like, we obviously supply a lot of money to Israel, and they're a great, big ally. But we also just gave Iran a ton of money. We know that attack was signed off on, right, on Iran. I think this was all orchestrated.
Oh, you mean on the IRGC?
Of
Like,
course.
Yeah.
I think the U.S. maybe even was the one that initiated it. Like, I mean, we initiate everything. Like this whole thing is just, and the fact that like Israel already has its hands full with what's going on in Gaza, and then went and did that, and it's like they want to.
I mean,
they don't
also,
really want to be fighting on two fronts.
If I
right
was
now.
them, I would have also lit up that they call it like a consulate
Mhm.
or an embassy. I don't know if it was necessarily that, but like I would also lit them up when you have like 10 top lieutenants of the piece of the country that is warring against you and planning against you, and they just so happen to all meet up, and you're like, wow, they're probably literally planning something against us. We won't have this opportunity again. There's a drone in the sky. Should we press the button? Yeah, of course you do.
I mean, if you're looking at it from Israel's perspective, it's like Iran is in some ways responsible for all the suffering that it's going through from its neighbors. All these proxy the proxy war itself, but all of these proxy partners that are exuding like pressure on Israel and like dropping missiles and all of the cause of like Hezbollah and everything that's happened there. That's all Iran, right? So if you have an opportunity to do something about it at some point, they have extreme motivation after what happened in
October 7th.
October 7th, to like really go and do something about it now. So it makes sense on the one hand, but I don't trust anything that we see. I don't trust any of the news that we get about any of this. I don't think that we know at all where the incentives lie. I don't think we even know what the partnerships are. I think that they want society to believe that like these alliances are formed, but I actually don't think that the alliances are clear. If we wanted those guys out, this regime out of Iran, we would have gotten them out a long time ago. There have been so many easy ways to get them out that has nothing to do with war or any of this. I mean, do you guys not feel that way? Do you not see that?
No.
I do feel that way.
Like, if we actually, like, we've given them money, but we call them enemies, and there was an opportunity to get them out last year, we didn't do anything about it. So we want to do it without touching what's going on inside of the country? I don't understand the incentives at all. I don't think we know what's going on.
It's above my pay grade.
It's like there's a lot of 4D chess happening, and I agree with you. I don't know if we're getting like fed this like game of operation where like information is like getting passed down to us, and we're the last ones to hear it.
I would guarantee it with I would bet every dollar that's what's happening. That's why when it comes to this type of stuff, when it comes to politics, I ascribe to what Paul Graham talked about. Is like, can I actually pull up this quote, because I don't even want to butcher it because it's so good. Like, I have an identity here, right? And yet I have no identity with what's happening right now between Iran and Israel. Because, as Paul Graham said, the more labels you have for yourself, the dumber they make you. These labels that we have, you could sometimes say like, well, I can view this situation objectively, even though I label myself as X. But you can't. It's impossible to like fully remove yourself. So the only thing you can do is actually not label yourself in the first place and look at the situation as objectively as you can. Because the moment that you label yourself as anything, you begin to have emotional reactions, and it just warps your thinking, and you fall into that pawn position. You become a pawn in the game that these political figures are playing right now, these war games that they're playing that have nothing to do with us, the citizens of the world. And then we get caught up in all the dysfunction and disagreement, and you did this to me, and you're that religion, or you're that race. We don't believe any of these things. They were given to us by these fuckheads that are just thieves. All of them are thieves. All of these societies are thieves. The thing about America that makes it so prestigious is that we play like we have this clean slate and we don't admit to the corruption. We're an extremely corrupt country that has so much fucking blood on its hands. So much blood on its hands. The difference between us and some other countries is that they wear the blood very openly and proudly. The corruption, the dictatorships, they're right in front of you. The people often say that live in these societies, which most of the world lives under these like authoritarian regimes, is that I kind of at least know where I stand. You people in the US think you have such freedom. You really don't. It's all subversion. It's all underneath the surface. And so when I see things like this, I immediately remove myself from the situation and just try to say, like, you know what? If I try to dissect this, I'm just going to fall into that position where I start to take an identity of some type. This is an injustice, or this shouldn't be done to these people or that people. And then all of a sudden, I've fallen victim, and I'm just like a pawn in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's tough to like interpret what's going on. I know that if you are interested in what's going on, you kind of want to like take away the politics part of it. I like foreignpolicy.com. It's a magazine that have good information. Foreign Affairs does.
Foreign Affairs.
CSIS.org. It's the Center for Strategic International Studies. They publish more military based content. And then on Twitter, there's like just as much as we have crypto Twitter, there's real estate Twitter. There's what's called OSINT Twitter, and it's open source intelligence Twitter. And these are like ex intelligence people, or just kind of like armchair intelligence people that use all open source data, whether that's like flight data, marine data, any surveillance footage that's open source, and they kind of like try to piece together from the bottom up. So you're not hearing it from some top down. You're hearing some guys actually just trying to piece together information. And I sent you guys that.
Yeah,
that
you
Twitter
shared
handle.
that. You shared that in our group chat, and I was following along. It was awesome because you would like I would have the news on in the background. The news was like, we don't know if
this
anything's
was
been
very
launched
good.
yet, and then like on open source intelligence.
Yeah, you can. Why don't you throw it up on the screen just
there's-
so that people can find this
There'd
guy's
be
Twitter?
literally people on there showing
this account
showing
was,
like an ICBM fly by or something.
Yeah, so the handle is @CentDefender, and yeah, I mean, he
1.1 million followers.
he's
Damn.
got quite a million
Dude,
followers.
he gained
Large,
like 200,000 of those over the weekend.
And he was given the minute by minute, and he was using some open source stuff like flight data. And he's like, interesting. There's a United States refueler in the air. That likely means that there's probably our airplanes, F-16s, F-35s in the air. There wouldn't be a refueler if there wasn't. And, he's just like trying to piece together using data on the bottom up. So I don't know, if you want to avoid the politics part of it, I think those sources of information are useful.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty political. I would not say this is not political.
No, it is political, but if you just
Okay.
want to know like what's happening
Here's
and
what's happening.
and
Like-
also like
Well, I'm saying he was tweeting a lot of political stances.
oh, he was.
Yeah, this is one guy. He was talking about like, I'm just one guy trying to keep up with all this.
Everything's political.
All right, well let's
He has the identity.
pull it back a little bit.
You
Can we-
talk about the rain?
I don't feel satisfied.
You don't feel satisfied?
No.
All
Where
right.
do you want to go?
I feel like you guys just kind of sat back, let me rant, and then you're just like, cool, let me tell you about this like non-political, Twitter channel, but we didn't dig into anything.
What do you want to know, Armand?
There's a fucking huge
What do you
thing
wanna
that
know?
happened. I want to know what you think about it.
Think about can you be more specific?
Really?
I mean,
I'm going to the bathroom. That was boring. I'm going to the bathroom.
Armand's out.
You have nothing to say, pussies.
All right, so let's
Talking about what happened before it happened. Man goes on rant.
he literally just said nobody knows, and then expects us to like know or something, have like a take on it. I also don't know.
He was just
he may have just really had to pee.
I think he just had to pee.
that was a smoke screen. He just like fucking actually smoke screened us so we could go pee.
Okay, can we talk about the rain?
You talk about the rain?
I want to talk specifically about cloud seeding because
Wait, like
I didn't know. I mean, I knew.
wait,
it
hold
was-
up.
Have you been following Dubai?
Okay, so I'm seeing the videos.
Let's start with Dubai.
Okay, let's talk about what's going on. So, in the last day, let's call it like 2 days ago, in one day they received the equivalent of like 1 to 2 years worth.
There's
of
a there's a crypto conference out there.
Yeah,
What is
there
it,
is.
2049
or something?
Wait, so do we have anything on this, like on the screen?
We don't
Like,
have anything ready. No.
I don't think so. The
What?
videos are like
the
nuts.
videos are insane. How do
There's
we not
just
have a video?
planes just taking off in a lake.
Yeah, so the airport is so flooded that it actually looks like a lake. And then as you're watching it, you're like, oh, there's a lake. And then you see the airplanes, taxiing in and out. And you're like, holy shit, that's the airport. And it's under, I don't know, maybe half a foot of water.
I mean, they got like 4.5 inches in a day, which is like their entire annual rainfall.
And obviously, a city built in the desert is not really built for like drainage and plumbing.
By the way, it has inspired like the best one-liners. Like,
Do you
people
have
on
any,
Twitter.
Do you have any queued?
Somebody posted one where they were like, "Wow, there's bored apes in Dubai and they're literally underwater." I was like, "That's pretty good."
Nice.
Yeah, like these motherfuckers getting liquidated in real life now. Like, oh god, that was great. People, there was just like a whole. I should have dropped some for visuals. It would have been that'd have been thoughtful of me. My bad.
But so apparently there's a cloud seeding operation that Dubai's been using for a long time, and I kind of find that okay, that's interesting.
Is Marty in the chat? I want Marty's take on cloud
I
seeding.
want to hear all of the conspiracy theories about cloud seeding, all of them, because I'm just kind of like learning about it, but I didn't know how active it was. It seems like
So, like, what is this even? Like, how do you even do it? How do you, like, make clouds? How do you seed clouds? What is
Okay,
this?
so I think the clouds. Again, I'm going to armchair cloud seed expert on this one because, believe it or not, I don't know anything about cloud seeding. But I think what happens is when there is a cloud that can potentially produce rain, you fly up into it and you scatter something in there, and it somehow makes rain from that cloud. But I don't think you go into like a clear blue sky and then make clouds and then it rains.
Okay. Because that's, I mean, I think we're going to, like, you just said that, California's doing this. I had no idea that they're doing it in Santa Barbara.
No, Amber told me about this like a few, like, I don't know, it was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. It was more than 2 weeks ago. And she's just like, yeah, did you know they're like cloud seeding and it's raining so much here because of that? And I was like, that's not a thing. That's a conspiracy theory.
So hold on, Nick just pulled up a cloud seeding pilot. So
yeah,
this guy,
so it looks like a Cessna, and they have these like tubes that fire off, some kind of chemical makeup, and they fly underneath the clouds, and it causes a cloud to turn into, if it might have rain, it certainly makes it
adds
rain.
moisture.
I legit thought this was just like a tinfoil.
I thought it was too.
I didn't think this
And then
was
you see the
actually
whole country underwater, and you're like, what the fuck? Okay, so that's one thing, right? And I was like, okay, this other country is doing it. And then we find out that California has been doing this too. And hopefully I can pop this out. All right, so Eric, why don't you bring this up? This is the county of Santa Barbara, so that's a county in California. And on their government website, they talk about this cloud seeding operation, how it's been in effect, and they've been doing it.
For how long?
I want a tax rebate. This is bullshit.
Dude, they've been doing it in like Dubai in general, UAE for a while. For like, drought, like
Yeah.
how dry it is and everything. Like, I had no idea. I think it just went wrong.
Went too far.
But I'm with you. I thought this was like a conspiracy thing.
I thought it was like the chemtrails thing or something.
Yeah, I
People were
put
like,
it in the
"Nah."
same category.
Like, okay, they're manipulating the weather. Cool, man.
Yeah.
So at one side, I'm like, wow, is this a good thing? But then at the same time, I'm like, okay, like testing this out is not necessarily irreversible, right? Maybe they cloud seed a little bit too much in this past week. Obviously, right? The water will go away, the damage will be repaired. But essentially, you're testing out a technology that can be used to counter climate change, and I think that's kind of what we look forward to, right? There's a market, and there's probably companies providing this service, and it might actually help in areas that may not receive rain as the climate changes over the course of decades. I kind of like that humans developed this technology to like adapt the weather.
Sure,
pretty
but
pretty crazy that we implemented it though. Like normally we're pretty slow to implement things, and it takes a lot of like bickering back and forth. And meanwhile, this is all just happening like behind the scenes without
Yeah.
anybody knowing.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
It feels a little weird that we didn't know.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll just change the entire weather. Like
Like 28
Totally
years to
fine.
get a drug through trials, but no, just change the weather. Just
Can't even get an ETT.
yeah, it's just
No surprise. Aren't these like more and more? Aren't there more and more of these lately, where like these things keep getting revealed about reality that you had no idea exist, and they just like start popping up more?
yeah, and there's just so many that we're
Yeah.
just like blind to them. We're like, oh, there's aliens.
Yeah,
Okay.
the alien thing
Yeah.
reminds me of that because it's just like I could totally see just like actual alien discovered. We finally have evidence, and people just being like, okay, what's the next thing?
I'm
Yeah,
basically
it's kinda-
there. I'm basically there. I thought we like kind of found aliens already.
We
Like
still don't have.
I don't know. It got
We still don't have like that real.
okay, but I'm so exhausted by it that it would
Yeah.
happen. I'd be like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everything's crazy now. We got like Diddy. There's like a whole like satanic adjacent like gay rap like cabal that's diddling kids in Hollywood. People are like, okay, cool. What's
Wait,
up?
really?
What else is going on?
Oh my god.
Wait, by the way, on a related note to that, I saw a video of Tupac when he was like in high school the other day on the internet going around being like interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
It was like ridiculous. Like I have to.
Why was he
saying
not like anything he is
how
now?
brilliant
Or
he
He
was?
looked like he was like a high school kid from that was in like the kind of musicals thing. Like he was just sitting there
Tupac
like
was?
Glee.
yeah, like I really love
Dude,
just really love acting and that it was just like
Wait,
he looked
what?
very not heterosexual.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
no. Yeah, hold on.
I swear to God.
Tupac went to acting and music school.
Yeah.
Like he moved to Baltimore for that reason with his mom.
So was he
That's
playing a role?
No,
Yeah.
he was
Steven just said
Yeah.
yeah with conviction.
No,
He's playing a
wasn't
role.
Playing a role in the video.
No, he's playing a
No,
role.
no. In like
He's
as
playing a role
Tupac.
as Tupac.
Like as a thug.
Like, thug life is a role.
It's just a role.
It's a
So Tupac is just like an effeminate theater kid. Like that was all he was the whole time.
please don't. No,
No,
I
no.
no matter how good of an argument, I refuse to
no.
accept it.
Tupac understood what he
is-
was doing.
This
though.
is just too soon
need
for
Marty.
me.
Marty
to, like,
probably has a
accept
take on this.
Like I can't
First of
accept
all,
this.
he was like 12 in the video you're referring to.
No, he looked like he was like 16.
Yeah, about probably 15.
So you've
16.
seen this video too?
Yeah, I'm a huge.
You've seen
Tupac
this video?
file. Like, I've watched everything and read everything about Tupac.
So do you agree that Thug Tupac was just a role he played?
It's not a role in the sense that like he's a product. Like he built a product. Like he was a very like deep, sensitive dude. Like if you read his poetry, you get exposed to like who Tupac really is. But like, did he really want to like be the guy that was just like in jail and killing people and like getting into like gang wars? At a certain point, he became that guy because the product becomes you. It's kind of like any actor, like like Jim Carrey talked about this a lot, right? In that documentary, like you eventually like become the mask that you wear.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened to Tupac. Like I think he very much became like a thug,
Okay, well that's pretty well
but
said.
he didn't grow up a thug. Like
I mean,
Tupac.
that's surprising to me and probably to a lot of people that he wasn't just a product of his environment. It was a product of this role that he was playing.
yeah, for sure. Tupac.
That's
like,
wild.
When
We
he
need
moved
Jamie
to
so I can play
California,
this
like
video.
he
It's like-
injected
That's fucking
himself
wild.
into these environments, and
Have
like-
you ever read his poetry?
it's incredible.
mean, I know
it's
his
like
lyrics.
the effeminate, like emo actor kid.
It's super emotional. It's super deep. It's
My favorite is the rose that grew from concrete.
yeah,
that
it's
was
the
the one I
title
remember
of
the most.
of the book they sell. You can buy his poetry book, and that's the title, "The Rose That Grew from the Concrete," and it's like full of his poetry.
Dude, I'm pretty accepting of this because I get it, but I also am like stunned. How
But
am
he
I-
also was a
how can you not
thug,
be
like in the
stunned?
sense that like he did do the things he did.
because he became
He
that.
became that. He went to jail. He got shot. He shot at people.
But it's weird for me that
He
it
is a
wasn't that it wasn't like he was a product of his environment first. That's what created the artist.
Oh, dude, his father was a Black Panther, or his stepfather, and his mom was like very educated and put him in good school. Like, if I'm not mistaken, it was not Juilliard, but like
I was always a-
something very similar.
I was
to
always a
that.
Biggie guy, anyways. But I was actually thinking about P Diddy and Biggie, and I was like, thinking about this satanic, rap group or whatever, and I was like, Biggie couldn't have been a part of that though. He's
I think Biggie was gay.
He's just too fat and happy and.
How funny would it be if like
Also a
every
crack dealer. By the way.
hip-hop,
every hardcore gangster rapper you think you loved was actually just like a gay theater kid? It was just all a giant
Dude,
facade the whole
I
thing.
had a buddy tell me once that every actor that's in Hollywood is just like every male actor in Hollywood is gay, and that came across to me as pretty dramatic at the time. And now that I like see it that way, I'm like, oh yeah, you're just a gay theater
Yeah,
kid.
dude. So when you saw that video, he was probably at the Baltimore School for the Arts. He started reading Shakespeare. He studied poetry. He had a full ride scholarship to Juilliard.
Damn,
Just crazy.
Yeah,
fascinating.
yeah. Dude was super smart.
Bro, I'm just looking at some of his poetry now. He had a poem called "The Eternal Lament." It's
Like
deep
most
shit.
people don't know what that word means.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was for real. Yeah.
Also,
I've
that's
always been.
why I,
I've always
you know,
been
you're-
Tupac
you're-
over Biggie.
I'm not gonna say it.
I don't know where you were going.
I was gonna say a Tupac line, and then I realized it was
I've
not gonna be
always been-
appropriate.
I think Biggie is the more talented lyricist and rapper, but Tupac is like the GOAT.
But by the way, can we go back to rappers who actually tell stories rather than just rhyme random things?
No,
Or
you
like
mean make
back?
sounds.
Mumble rap.
Mumble rap.
Mumble rap got so
Mumble
popular.
rap.
Listen,
makes sounds.
it sounds good. Like I like it. I like playing it in the car sometimes. But like I like rappers who tell stories with their lyrics.
Yeah.
Tupac was one.
I
Biggie's
don't
one.
like it.
Eminem was also one too. He
I
could
like
tell a
real
story.
hip hop.
Yeah, I
This
like
is
old
not
school.
hip-hop.
I like old school hip hop.
I like music. This is
You're just
like-
old, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
That's a fact.
Like it's bad.
Okay, now I know you're old.
It's objectively bad.
So one of the people we were staying with in Portugal, one of Amber's friends, he's like a 50-year-old like data scientist, like, but he's like trying to be like a DJ. No, he's like, he actually was in like a rock band in the '90s. I saw him like he sounded like Eddie Vedder and shit. He was like long sick hair. He looked cool as fuck. But he's actually like a legitimate like producer. Like he was showing me like his rig. He's like some of his songs are like really good. I'm like, damn, man. But he was showing me he's like very into AI too, which I think is like super sick. And he's very into AI and music. And he's showing me all the AI music stuff. And he had this like app where he's just generate like just song. He's like boop, and it was just like some pop song or whatever you wanted. It's just like spitting
Like,
stuff
in
out
the
now.
style of, and it would just
Yeah,
do that
like
way.
everything, like genres I've never heard about before, like African techno grunge mumble rap or something. It was just like all over the.
And does it sound good, like the AI versions?
It sounds just as good to me as like a mediocre, generic, bad song.
Pop song or
Yeah,
something?
like it's and like that's where we are now.
Totally.
And I think all these songs are they're also. It was very interesting hearing him talk. He was like talking about just like the inner workings of like what it takes to kind of go up and how like the sausage is made behind the scene. Like, did you guys go to the talk at Permissionless with Koopa Troopa? Was I just the
I
only one
wasn't
there?
there, I don't think.
Yeah, he was like really interesting. He was talking about like they had an artist there. I forgot his name. I want to say his name was Daniel. I don't know. Can't remember. But he was talking about what it's like to kind of be on Spotify and to do the Spotify game and how to break into stuff and like how it's all about the streams and all this. And I was like, damn. And yeah, he was telling me about everything that kind of happens. And it's like super, super, super freaking gnarly. Like,
I mean, you're gonna be able to chat GPT songs and it'll spit back, amazing artwork. I think there's already startups that are doing it. I was listening to All In Podcasts and they were like showing samples of it. I think one of the samples was like put Dune 2 as a Broadway classical, and within seconds it just had this like flawless script, the melody. I mean, all like every component of like an amazing song just done instantly.
So then you extrapolate that, you can do that with video too. Like make me a movie that kind of depicts
Soon.
this type of movie that I want to watch,
Sora
featuring
showed
this
that, yeah.
actor.
One of the big generative music AI startups is from San Diego, actually.
really?
Soundful, I think.
Soundful?
So yeah, that space is pretty
But
cool.
what is the future of that? Is it the idea that we all have our own personal music, or is it that like I generated this, song with a sentence prompt?
Yeah, we
and
can't
now
have-
do
we
I own
can't have
rights to it?
personal
Like,
music.
am I a producer of music? I'm trying to figure out what the future looks like.
Like one of the things he told me that was super interesting, actually, he just reminded me, is like, you know how when you, like, if you have a song and you sample Justin Bieber, right? Like, you basically have to give him everything.
You pay him a royalty.
Yeah. And there's like some nuance. Like, you can use, I think, some elements of the track, but like if you use like the vocals themselves, I think you have to have like explicit permission. Like, you could use the lyrics and record over them, but you have to like give them. It was weird. But he said what people are doing now is they're like having someone basically like just record. They're singing over like the exact. So you want to cover like "Sorry" or something, so somebody just sings "Sorry," and then they're just using AI, and then they're just redoing it, and it sounds literally exactly like him.
But it's not.
But it's not, and so it's like the same as like if you got somebody who, you know how like Journey, you know, the lead singer. Did he die? I think Steve Perry. I don't know if he died or he's not in the band anymore. But they got this like Filipino guy, which sounds exactly like him. And he's like awesome. And they like Journey tours around now with this fucking Filipino guy who sounds exactly like Steve Perry from Journey. But now you can do
Steven's
that.
a Journey fan.
Who doesn't love Journey?
Who doesn't love Journey?
I love him.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Sorry, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, now like you're just having a guy cover him, have AI turn it into Bieber's voice, and it's exactly like you just got a guy that just happens to sound like Justin Bieber. Justin's not singing the song; it's just a guy who sounds exactly like him, and then it's just you've completely
I
circumvented
love
all
it.
the rules.
Pump that P&L, baby. Get that expense item out of there.
I wonder if that AI version circumvents. It sounds like Justin. Does it
it's
get around it?
Yeah, it's like it's uncanny. It sounds like
Wow.
basically identical. It's nuts. I mean, you've seen there's people on TikTok, right, just writing Drake songs. It sounds like Drake, you know, and it's just like that. That's
They're pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. We're already there. Never mind what that's going to look like in 4 years. Like who knows?
Yeah, I think the purpose of again, I'm not in the music industry at all, and I don't know how people are thinking about this. So it's just analogous to like other ways AI is being used. Is it's just automation and scale of like tasks that already were, took somebody 6 months to probably put together what they can do.
But is this for maybe commercial use, right? Like I'm producing a video and I need a tune that sounds like this, and I don't need to like.
Commercial use would be like an example of how somebody in that industry wants or needs music. So like applications vary, but it's like people in that industry now have a tool that can automate and scale entire workflows of what would have taken them a lot of like personal manual research and experimentation to find that beat, create that beat, source that beat, find that vocal, source that vocal, get the license for that vocal. So all these things just take a lot of time. And again, I know nothing about music
We should ask
creation.
our mutual friend, who's the producer that we know from college days, producer up in Northern California. I'd be curious to know, what he,
producer.
what if he's using those tools.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are you thinking of?
Nah, I'm not gonna say his name.
Okay. I don't
Yeah.
know anything. But yeah, and I think those things apply. Sam Altman was talking about this in a recent interview as well, where people assume that AI is going to take over jobs. It's not that AI is taking over jobs. It's that AI is taking over tasks. So like specific task level things. And then sometimes tasks have multiple steps to them. And so next phase that everyone's excited about is the agents. The current like ask that you have, the prompt. By the way, the phrase prompt engineering is the funniest thing in the world to me. It's like professional question asker. Jon Stewart had a bit about this that was like so good. By the way, has John been okay lately? Because I think you were saying that he's like crashed and burned. But I went back to a recent episode.
I'm not saying that he's
since the very beginning, and he was on fire.
I'm not saying that he's
I don't know,
crashed
did I
and
miss
burned. I said
something?
it was always like that. And I just like woke up I was like, oh, that's what this is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he didn't suddenly start going like ultra woke or anything, or he didn't like lose the balance of like what he was trying to do with the new show.
Well,
No,
I think he never
no.
had the balance before,
He
but
just was
now
never
he
there
seems more balanced now.
Now he's more
before.
balanced, right?
Yeah, I think so.
He didn't lose it, did he? Because I watched like his breakdown of like the Middle East. Tom Nom just commented on that in the chat. It was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then I watched his breakdown of AI. I thought that one would be boring, but his AI breakdown was hilarious.
Even though Naguru's takes, it's funny.
It's funny.
It's
so like he was making fun of like this phrase prompt engineering, which is so correct. It's like I mean, of course, there is some technicality to it, but it's basically just like professional question asker. But anyway, like you ask the question, you have an outcome. There are multiple steps to it. Yeah, the beauty of AI is that these agents will be able to go all the way to completion soon. We had the promise of that last summer, but it never really came to fruition at a real like mass adoption level. But I think it will soon. So you could just be like, make me song like this without a whole lot of detail, and it should get you there.
Yeah. I've kind of like stopped using. I haven't used AI in a while.
Oh my god.
Like I feel like I used it a lot and it was like cool. It's like this like shiny trick, but then like as I used it more and more, I just kind of like was like, oh, it's like just.
You didn't use it for Ludwig von Mises?
I think if it was relevant to your work, like I have only used it more. It is only more a part of my workflows.
I still use GPT every day.
It just doesn't do things I want it to do well. It's not intelligent. It's really good at like summarizing shit, basically.
Yeah.
It's really bad for the shit that I'm asking it to do. It's like wrong on everything. Like
I'm kind of waiting for the V2 to come out at this point.
I was even like telling you how
that's a hot take.
I used Google Gemini and I was testing it out, and I used GPT too, and I was like, hey, here's my flight to China. Here's when I get back. Here's where I live. Can you tell me what my sleep schedule should be for the next 3 nights so I can adjust to the jet lag? And it just couldn't do any part of it. I assumed it could look up the flight number and be like, okay, this is the time you're leaving and this is when you'll arrive and this is where you're going. Couldn't do that. It didn't even understand which direction I was going in. Thought I was going east and not west.
You really want this Google thing to work, man.
I do, and I think it will.
You really do.
I still think it will.
It's unfortunate that I'm better at answering the question via my own Google search than I am on putting it on like a GPT.
Dude, I'm at least 70% of the time defaulting to ChatGPT over Google.
Really? I never really do that anymore. Like, except for like,
what are you guys asking?
specific
We need to do like
scenarios.
a live breakdown. Dude,
Like if I was,
I'm blown away that you said it's not intelligent.
oh, it's
Well, it's
bad.
not intelligent.
It's so dumb.
It's
What do you
literally
mean by
not
It gets
intelligent.
everything wrong. It's so dumb.
It literally is doing fill in the
my
blank,
God.
isn't it?
No,
That's not intelligence.
no. It is not like general intelligence. It's not AGI, but there is an intelligence there.
It's like
for
a
sure.
predictive blank filling.
No. Have you ever used it to brainstorm?
Oh, it's great at that.
It's unbelievable.
It's like a brainstorming partner.
It's the best brainstorming partner you've ever
So it's
had.
like it's probably more for like creative work because I'm trying to get it to do like simple things like, pull up
That's so interesting.
Like pull up a market share for this industry for the top 5 companies, and it's like adding up to 270%. I'm like, this is so dumb.
Yeah, it can't do like basic shit that would be like basic intelligence.
I mean,
Right.
you can't use it for math, for sure.
Yeah, which is so fucking dumb.
No, but I mean, I think Armand and I use it more for
Creativity.
I'm
creativity.
like looking at my. I mean,
well,
dude,
I don't do
I'm
anything
using it
creative
for
in my
insane-
day-to-day life.
Dude, I'm using it for intense shit, like especially Claude. Like I'm uploading like 50-page legal documents and being like, point out
Yeah.
everything inside of this
Summarize
that
it.
is not point out everything inside of this according to this jurisdiction law and blah blah blah. That what is not founder friendly in this? What should I push back on? What would my employees need? What would this be? What would that like, dude? I'm doing so much in that thing. I think people are using it differently. That's all.
I'm just like, show me an order block, and it's just like, what?
Yeah, no way.
No.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, guys. Well, we're time to wrap up. It looks like so. Let's figure out where we're gonna go next. Maybe grab another drink, continue it.
Let's get everybody to like the stream.
Okay.
Throw
Yeah.
a like and
And share it.
share it.
Share the
It's all about the
podcast with a
share.
friend. Armand
It's
wants you to share it.
It's 2024. The year.
Do
of
you
sharing.
want this man?
At the very least,
be upset with you?
send them the
No.
timestamp of Armand walking off on the podcast.
I really had to go to the
That's
bathroom.
I knew it. We knew it.
We all knew you had to pee.
I was honestly wanting more. I wanted more. I wanted to know what you guys like. Is Israel going to strike back? When are they going to do it? What's this going to mean for crypto? I wanted more.
By the time the podcast
I'm
comes
just
out,
as
it'll all be
unsatisfied
proven.
as this goddamn audience. They're so unsatisfied right now.
You
I'm
just
just kidding. I'm
got
just
done
kidding.
ranting about how nobody knows and then expected us to
Nick
have
and I had a whole conversation
tell me
about
why you
like
know.
deterrence.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, like Eric said, like the video. Like Steven said, share the video.
Yeah, we love you guys.
We love you guys very much. Thank
try
you
not
for
to walk
always
off.
joining us. All links are at alfalfapod.com. Check out Irresponsibly Long back next week, 5 p.m.
tomorrow, sir.
Yes,
Tomorrow.
on Thursday. Oh, I said next week? I meant
Yeah.
tomorrow, Thursday.
The people need some magic lines. I think.
Yeah,
People
it's
are
time.
thirsty for lines.
Well, they're gonna get them.